Hello guys, welcome. We're at the final week. We've made it. We're 6 weeks into the EU Pro League here for KS5. My name is Tone and I'm here with Fru once again. We let you have a little break last week. We brought in Toby just to man the ship, so to speak. But you are back this week.
Yep.
First and foremost, I want to go over last week because obviously we didn't have you here to get your obviously very, very well knowledged opinion on last week's game and the changes. What did we think? Are we excited about the changes of Escalation?
I'm excited. I am excited. I want to cast my first best of 9. First round 9. Sorry.
It's not best out of 9 this week. Don't listen.
Yeah, ignore me. And well, I thought the games went pretty quick last week. I'm hoping for some tighter games this time around. Hopefully. Obviously, the second series last week was great. The first series was a bit of a stomp. This time around, maybe we'll get some more map 3s. Potentially.
I think, we were just having a discussion about this week's, and my opinion on this week's games is they're either going to be super close, which is what we hope for. We're talking round 9s, map 3s. That's what I'm thinking for both games, or they're going to be super one-sided. Of course, we do have our damage going up against Obey in game number 1, and then of course game number 2 we got EU's finest already solidified their first place, but they will be going up against Rated R, who are looking to stay away from the bottom, and I think that is the story of this final week. Stay away from that first place.
Yeah, that's it, right? You don't want to be fighting for that spot again. Obviously, there's that little caveat about gaining points at the majors as well. So depending on how these teams place in San Diego, they will gain 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 points themselves, only based upon this region. But yes, you don't want to be at the bottom at the end of the Pro League, that's for sure. And there's still a chance for a couple of teams to be down there.
Well, let's see who is currently sitting at the bottom of the standings. It is indeed Obey Alliance, and they have the easier side of the games, though, you would say. I think going up against our damage, it's a winnable game for them, you believe, through.
I mean, I believe it's winnable. It's more winnable than facing the EU's finest, that's for sure. If you were rated R or Obey, you'd want Obey's matchup. That said, though, our damage smoked them in week 1.
Yes.
And this is a mirror match of those two games from that week 1. They were both very heavily one-sided games back then. Hopefully Obey have improved a little bit, and hopefully they can bring it to our damage a little bit this time around.
Yeah, 100%. I think Obey have definitely improved since then. I mean, we can see their round difference is the worst, but what I will say as a caveat to that is that they did play EU's finest last week. Of course, Rated R, we expect them to probably lose to EU's finest, which will bring their round difference down. If Obey have a good performance against our damage, obviously that'll bring things up. But I think I'm very interested in this game number 1 specifically. When we talk about Obey and our damage, inconsistent is sort of the word that springs to mind for both these two teams. Sometimes both of them look really, really good. Of course, we've seen our damage push EU's finest all the way to map number 3 last time they did play each other. Very, very close series. Obey, maybe not so much luck against EU's finest, but odd occasion here and there, they do look like a really solid team. Yeah. If they both bring their A game, though, who are you favouring?
I have to favour our damage.
Our damage, yeah.
For me, they have been the more consistent out of the two, and their consistency has been at a higher level. Yes, Obey had flashes of brilliance against EU's finest, but honestly, so have our damage against the same opponents. And for me, our damage, they took EU's finest to that round 13 twice over. I think they're a little stronger right now.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what sort of version of each of these teams that we do get, and I think that is going to make a difference. Of course, we are going to be playing on the new escalation, which is first to 5, not first to 7 anymore, and of course we do have those mid-weapon placements in there now instead of the home placements. You can't place the boom or the drop shot on your home hill. I call them home hills all the time. Home weapon, you know exactly what I mean. Home spot.
I don't know.
But at the same time, we seen last week it's created, I want to say, a new meta. It's become not so much about relying on hitting those big drop shots for the engagements in the initials. It's not so much relying on the big boom shot players as well. It's more so about that core Gears gameplay. We seen it favour the EU's finest last week against Obey, who we think have probably had a bit more practice this week anyway, or you would hope, going up against our damage. Now, do you think this, more basic style of Gears of War, more basic style of escalation, does it favour our damage or does it favour Obey? Because if you look at Obey, they've typically been the guys that are near the top of that kill leaderboard. I mean, Saki was there for the majority of the time. I know it's Dragons now from Rated R, but Saki loves an engagement, and this is all about those shotgun engagements.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, who does it suit better? Honestly, I'd have to say it suits our damage better as well. Yes, historically, we have seen Obey slaying out, and they have been in a lot of engagements. But the reason I say that I feel it suits our damage more is that it's it gives our damage the ability to play around weapon placements in the middle, and it's a lot more based upon those middle fights, right? And our damage, I feel, are the better team who can react to those weapon placements quickly and can also make strats up a little bit quicker as well. They've been around the game for a very, very long time now. They've had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at them, and I don't think they'll get phased if they see a drop that they're not expecting go down in front of them.
Okay, well, let's find out what's going on in the picks and bans in this series anyway, through to get a better idea of which way we think this one will go. Our damage getting rid of Icebound, not really that too much of a surprise. Obey Alliance getting rid of District. Our damage seems pretty good on District right now, so I agree with that one through. Vasgar coming in for Obey, no surprises there. They've been relatively decent on that map. Asylum coming in for our damage. Again, it's a favourite from the fans and, of course, from the players, and all teams fairly solid on this map. Bunker and Exhibit then going. Training Grounds coming through. Thoughts through?
These are the 3 maps that I would have thought would have been in the series, to be honest with you.
You say that now, of course.
Yeah, and it's easy to say that now, right? But I was on the train over, I was thinking this. District is our damage's second most played map after Asylum, so that may have flipped one or the other way. But yeah, no surprise to see Asylum in there for our damage. Vasgar, Obey have been picking it and doing pretty well on it. They beat Rated R on that round 13 a few weeks ago that we had many highlights from. And then Training Grounds has been that 3rd pick map pretty much the whole season. We haven't seen it played much at all, to be honest with you. But we have seen it there in that 3rd spot.
And I think, we see Exhibit in there being banned away by Obey. They lost that last time round when they did play against our damage. Bunker going away from our Obey Alliance as well from our damage of that 2nd round of ban. So nothing too crazy, in all honesty. I'm relatively surprised Vasgar slipped through because we know Obey do quite like this map. So I think it's definitely a win for them. Asylum is one that our damage have looked really good on. Obey have never really convinced me that they're solid on. They've had a couple of all right rounds here and there. I know they got pushed right to the wire by EU's finest on them. I do believe it. It's been a lot of gears. I think that nobody really necessarily favours from this one. It's a relatively balanced map set. See who takes their maps. I think that's what this one comes down to. There's something I have glossed over, though. We have to talk about it. What the hell is this?
Christmas. What's wrong with a bit of Christmas spirit?
I didn't get the Christmas jumper memo. That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah, I forgot to send the text. But
I've got a glorious one at home. I could have brought it.
Next time. Bring
Talk
it in
to
January.
me. I was supposed to be the duo. Honestly, I'd expected to know.
I've got the
that
San
you're
Diego one underneath, so we could have
I mean,
gone either way.
You're just a Gears apparel marketing
I didn't know
tool
whether
at this
it was going
point.
to be warm, hot, cold. We'll see.
It's always cold.
Might be stripping off later. Get the San Diego one out.
We'll not talk about that. Either way, here is the map pool that we will be seeing in the first series. Arch damage against Obey Alliance. Vasgar's coming up first, then we will see Asylum, of course. Training Grounds if we do need it. Right. We sort of lent towards our damage and our predictions when we've been talking about this game, but who are we looking at on Obey's side to have a good performance if they want a chance in this series? And I know there's a name on my mind. Who are you thinking first, though?
Who am I thinking for Obey? I'd have to say Breaker. He's the guy who he kind of leads the team. He's actually fallen off a little bit in terms of that KDA, in terms of that elimination total, and he was up there to start with. And for me, if he has a good game, Obey can stay in this. They can win this. but it relies upon that, on Breaker being that leading party for them.
I was going to say Saki, in all honesty. I think he's been one of these guys, top eliminations for quite some time throughout this whole Pro League, and most engagements by far as well. We need to see him win these fights. We need to see him win these fights big time, and I think that could be the difference maker. We've seen TJ have some good performances as well. Honestly, across the board, we need to see a big performance out of Obey. They are sitting at the bottom. They can rectify that completely here. They know that their fate is probably in their hands. They know that Rated R have to get a result against the EU's finest here to not be bottom by the time we go to San Diego. So I think if you are Obey Alliance, you look at it and say, well, we've got to play the lesser of the two evils, so to speak, against our damage. Let's try and get this one done. But we are loading up this game. We will be getting started very, very shortly. I'm going to say we're going to go score predictions just because I need to fill a little bit of time here for... I'm going to be bold and say Obey Alliance 2-1.
That is bold.
I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say they're going to win Vasgar, absolutely losing Asylum. Then Training Grounds. I honestly can't tell you the last time we've seen both these two teams play Training Grounds. New meta in there as well. I don't know. It just might swing things. Who knows? Who knows? Neither one of these teams yet to lose Vasgar. That will, of course, change by the end of this map, but we are loading in now, and Obey Alliance need this map, I feel, though. I think they lose this, it's over, of course, but I have confidence in their Vasgar ability.
It's, 100% winning rounds on our damage, though, is something to come up against. That was on there. Obviously, that was last week. It was that first 7 map, 5-0. There wasn't really much coming back from Rated R, but this time around, Obey, a bit of a stronger opponent on Vasgar, I feel. We'll see if our damage are tested.
What's your score prediction then, mate? Come on.
Score prediction on this map?
No, just in the series.
Map prediction? I'm going to go 2-0 our damage.
2-0 our damage, so we're completely against each other here.
I kind of feel like our damage, they've just been a better team recently. And I don't feel like jumping on Vasgar is really going to save Obey right now.
Well, let's see what Obey can get done. It is our damage with the initial B capture after getting a hold of it, of course. And here comes the retake from Obey Alliance. Flashes have come over, and they are trying to set up in a bit of a better position now than they were. They should be able to get a little bit of real estate over towards the tank here on the right-hand side, but it is just going to be that war of attrition that we see so often. Here come the shotgun fights, though. The first ones aren't going to go over towards Obey Alliance. Demonic is going to find at least 2. Strikers goes down as well, and if you want our damage, you get out of there, you rotate. They've done well to get away, but Physics is going to go down to Warrior Guns. Nice clean up from Obey and a good take of B.
Yeah, it was a great little push. Our damage a little bit too split. They didn't really commit to that fight at all. And in the end, Obey stepping it up, taking them out. They deserve that. But as we say that, we do have a little bit of a rotation round. You see Zorkos, he's moved over to the Sea Hill, managed to get that decap, keeps our damage ahead in the points.
I think if you're Obey here, you just want to use your advantage that you had. The respawns were coming up. You needed to maybe make the push for that a little bit quicker. And now they're losing B as well. This is really nicely done by our damage. You were really on the back foot. They will dominate in 2 seconds if the deny doesn't come through. It may well, though. Rita is just going to back on down. Smart play from him. But Obey do stop the domination, albeit possibly only momentarily. As we can see, the rest of our damage have rotated over towards it. And I think in that scenario, Obey do really well to get a hold of B, but then they get nothing else for it. It just seems as if our damage were a step forward on that one. The reason they didn't necessarily have the resources over towards B is because they're already rotating towards C.
That they were indeed. Talking of rotations, looks like Obey are trying the exact same push once again. Yeah, this time the flash comes in, stuns that Warrior Guns, TJ and Demonic all on this one cover now. And this time around, our damage, they've adapted a little bit. You see Strikers and Physics, they're sat behind the tank right about now, just trying to delay that push round. What that does, it means that they can just use a little bit of this crossfire. It doesn't matter, though, too much, because TJ, he's managed to get a kill. We're seeing Zorkos, he's going to clean up. Looking for his third, actually. Got 2 on the board. Big shot now. He's getting shot in the back, so Warrior Guns is going to clean up. It's going to be 15 seconds on the clock now. Reader's going to down Saki.
Yeah, that's a big gunfight by Reader to win against Saki. If Saki takes him down, they keep a hold of C. It's the push over towards A. It would have been a very different story towards the end of this round, but it's not going to be enough for Obey Alliance. It will be an R damage round 1-0 now. They grind that one out in 2 minutes 50 seconds, but I like that from them. Honestly, the rotations round is something that we talked about Obey being pretty good at in previous times that we have seen them on Vasgar. That time around, though, our damage definitely getting the better of them. 1-0, though. And ultimately, we seen the slaying there, and it was mostly over towards Obey, but they just weren't making those kills count. Whenever our damage were getting a little bit of pressure in certain places, it seemed as if they were just able to make more of it count. They were getting a hold of a hill. If they were losing B, they were already rotating to C. So just better play from our damage, in all honesty.
The one thing I would like to say as well about our damage there is when they were losing the initial fight, at least at B, they rotated into the middle, which meant that Obey had to chase them in there. Once Warrior Guns, once Obey dropped down into that middle, they've got such a long run to get back to their own home hill that it doesn't really matter that, you know, they've got those kills. By the time they're back round to fight for their own home hill, our damage, they're back up once again and fighting.
Well, this initial, once again, looked like it was going over towards our damage. Bit of a fight here up top towards the stairs. Momentarily is going to go over towards our damage once again, though. They should be able to get a hold of B here. They have got A, they have got C as well, so domination is potentially on the cards. They do actually have Demonic and Saki pinned in here over towards this B side. Warrior Guns is crucial here, though. He needs to stay alive here through.
He does indeed. I mean, right now, it doesn't really matter too much for our damage. They can see what happens at A and then make their push afterwards. They have lost A, but you see no points on the board here just yet for Obey, and that means our damage, they're just going to push up through tank. Warrior has to fall off. It looks like A is going to go over. Now you see the other side of the map, C Hill is getting decapped, so this is where our damage, now they have to make this play. They're either going to rely on Cougars, or they're going to fight the 3v1. It looks like Cougars has won his, at least, not so much the fight, but win the battle. Now it's all about the tank fight.
Yeah, Warrior Guns going to find one, will be dropped, but here comes the cavalry for Obey Alliance. Physics is going to have to back off. They clean them out. Obey will get a hold of B now. Can they hold on? But this is the thing. They've put so many numbers over towards B, and it just seems as if our damage have that spread completely right, don't they? It's like, well, where do you know, what basket do you put your eggs in at this point? And it seems as if they are spreading them quite evenly, as the saying doesn't go usually. But here we go. They are going to win these gunfights over towards A. They will get a hold of B as well, of course. So it will be a win condition for Obey Alliance very, very shortly. But Strikers is crucially going to stay alive over towards A. He will get away back towards C. But this is a nicer setup from Obey this time round. They win the gunfights, and that was the important thing that time.
It is. And now for Obey, they've got to look at what do they do with this 2-cap. They've got this hold here. I like where Warrior Guns is. He's pushed up, sat up a little bit, just so he's got that perpendicular angle. He might be able to get the kill on Rita. Actually, he does. He's going to get taken out himself by Cougars, but a trade in that situation is not too bad because your team is still now 3 members up alive. 1 behind the tank, 2 on the overlook, and right now, still advantage Obey. They're gaining points while our damage are having to wait for reinforcements.
Our damage now waiting to make this push over towards B. It is pretty much a mirror matchup of what happened last time round. Cougars does maybe try and bait out the push here, just trying to find out how many members of Obey Alliance are defending this tank, but here comes the flash. That's nicely done. Obey should be able to defend this one, but here comes the cavalry. They will be able to push on through. Physics is going to find Saki and make sure he secures that kill. They have forced Obey Alliance out. They now drop Warrior Guns as well. They will get a hold of B, but you can look over towards the other side. It is a push over towards C, potentially going to come in here from Obey. But they're just making sure they keep a hold of A. Breaker is going to take a lot of bullets, though. Gets pincered in, if anything. Demonic is going to make a push over towards C, though, so keep an eye on that one. But Zorko's decapping A at least. Let's see which way is this one going to go. Big gunfight's going to go on here. Saki needs to find this kill if he can, because the rest of our damage are cleaning Obey up. And a 1-cap will not be enough now. They are over towards B. Zorkos is going to find Saki, though, crucially. TJ is going to have to come back over and perform a bit of a miracle here.
The miracle play's got to happen at B as well. They need that decap. It looks like Obey, they might have just done enough here. They are going to get decapped over at B, but if they can lock in at this A hill, they might still just be ahead of time. We'll see in just a second. No, the COG team, they flipped it. They've got it just in time right about now, and now Rita on that decap once again. If he's able to get that, pretty much locks it in for the COG team. Doesn't right now. TJ, he's going to go for the break on C.
Oh, it has to be a big, big break. It might come in time. It's going to be very, very close, though. They need to get rid of him. They need to get it up as soon as they can. Not quite enough. A few seconds, and they may have been able to do it. A very, very close round there. A couple of points in it towards the end for Obey. Very, very close for them to get on the board, but 2-0 now for our damage. That's a round that's really going to hurt if you're Obey. Yeah. In control for the majority of that.
Yeah, they look pretty good on that B fight. They had that huge point lead as well. Our damage doing what they did best, just getting the breaks right at the right time, playing the map perfectly. Well, their reward is that second round locked in. Markser, talking about locked in, the Markser is as well locked in over at that COG spawn. And we're going to have a look, see what Obey respond with. They're hovering crater at the moment. Is it going to be one of those mid-weapon placements? Doesn't look like it as they move over and place the Markser at their spawn as well. So we're mirroring up just for the time being. We'll see if anything crazy comes out a little bit later on.
Okay, anything juicy through. That's what we want.
That's what we want. We do indeed. Let's have a look at the overhead map. as we go into this. So 3 people running over towards the helicopter for Obey. 3 on the side of our damage as well. So it looks going to be a little bit of a mirror matchup. And we've got a 2v2 over at that neutral hill.
I just feel like this push over towards A from this C side is a lot harder. When you're pushing from a helicopter up towards the rivals, it's so difficult. Just the height advantage, if anything, for our damage. They're able to spray down fairly easily. And they are now making this push over towards C. Or they have had to back on down. TJ is going to drop Zorkos though, so this is just momentarily going to give them advantage. Is able to clean that up with a pistol as well, so the rest of our damage have to back on
great
down.
Fire from Saki.
Reader now is going to be dropped as well. Nicely done by Saki and Breaker, all combining well. TJ was the one to clean it up. They've spotted a player mid as well. This should be an A cap now for Obey Alliance, and they probably will rotate straight over towards B. Respawn's not that high though, so they will be able to make sure they do pick up plenty of points here. How the hell has Saki won that gunfight? It was looking like Cougar's got him very, very red. But ANC now in control of Obey Alliance. In control once again like they were in the previous round. Can they make it count this time though?
Let's have a look. Let's see where the teams are set up. Let's see what the next play is going to be. It looks like it's going to be that A retake. You see the 4 members of COG there moving around. They're going to push up those marks of stairs. You see them on the X-ray vision as well right about now. And A is going to be the next push. Demonic, he's going to be defending here. Let's have a little drop back. Let's see what's happening. TJ as well. He's going to be the supporting brother as he comes in. Now, Cougars, he's going to get dropped down very, very quickly. This is a good defense here from Obey, actually. And now, the fight on the stairs. That's where it's going to be. Strikers is misrolled, so he's going to get taken out. And TJ looking for his next victim. He knows he's around here somewhere. Saki's going to go wide. Zorkos is going to make that push up, but there is 2 members of Obey to receive him, and out he goes. The elimination does drop in. Obey going to be taking their first round here on Vaskar. Much better round from them. Yeah,
much better from them that time round. The slaying was there like it has been in the first 2 rounds, to be honest with you, but this time round they do make it count. But look at that slaying difference, well pointed out. Very much in the favour of Obey Alliance here, but yet they still find themselves behind. I think it's one of these things where they're just not making them count, or they haven't made them count in the previous 2 rounds, before the last one we've seen, of course. But they do make them count that time round and do get around on the board. Topo's placed either side, so things are about to get a little bit spicy anyway. Let's see who uses it a little bit better.
I don't think in my decades of Gears of War, I've ever seen double torpos being placed anywhere on a map. It's great for me, but this is going to be an interesting one because I've not actually seen them fight each other. Let's jump on board with Warrior. He's been pretty good with this throughout the whole pro circuit, to be honest. Making his name known on both Vaskar here and upon Bunker.
No, Cougars is going to survive that. I tell you what, if he can find strikers, that would be massive. Isn't going to be quite able to land the shot. See though, it is looking like Obey Alliance have the priority over towards that. A big flash comes through though, and that will slow anything down here. I feel like Warrior did he use that last one? I think he did.
He has
so
indeed.
No more talk available for him. On the other side of things, I think that is the same rung Strufer. Actually, no, he does have 1 left here if you are strikers. So can they make this count? If strikers hits his shot, then maybe they can break through and get a hold of C here, because it's a bit of a deadlock so far.
So historically, the torpo, you know, it's been useful for pulling people out of cover. You can use it, stick it to the cover, stick it to the floor, and the damage will, you know, it be enough to kill someone about
just
that.
Like that.
Yeah, we see the damage coming down on Saki there. He drops, Cougars falls, and both members of Obey are going to be down. Used well the torpo in the end. Wasn't fantastic, but wasn't horrendous, and it did enough just to get our damage moving.
Crucially though, if you're an Obey fan, a couple of kills come over towards A, and they are going to win the gunfights as well. Nicely done. All that hard work that our damage did there just wiped out completely as the B push now comes through from Obey. A couple of kills in their favor, and that's the thing with escalation. It really can swing very, very quickly. You make one good push, but then if you just lose a couple of gunfights, things get swung in the opposite direction. Now we can see that the C push is coming in from Obey, getting very aggressive though. Our damage on the defense. Here comes the push from them as well, but it's a completely red kill feed. Cougars and Co in a bad spot now. Can they fight their way out of this one? Reader is going to find 1. Cougars cleans it up. Cougars is going to get dropped. The only thing for them here, though, is that our damage is quite close to their spawn. Can they defend this one? The swarm domination will come through if they can get hold of C. If you are damaged here, you maybe punish Obey Alliance's maybe issue of lingering around too much there. I think a couple of kills, they maybe went for the kill there in themselves when they tried to capture C, but in that scenario, maybe drop off just a little bit. I like what they did until they got a little bit too aggressive. Of course, our damage are just spawning behind those crates, and they are able to push on through, and they will defend. They're still in a bad spot, but because of that aggression out of Obey, and because of the couple of players they lost, they do lose B2.
lose speed 2, and that's going to flip the win condition there over to the COG team as well. So it is our damage to win currently. Warrior Guns has picked up that Torpo, as has Reader, so a little bit of change of user over on the our damage side. Let's see what Reader can do with this one. I think I agree with what you were saying there, Obey. They had our damage pinned, they had the kills, but then they pushed again and again and again. And yes, you're getting kills, but are they worth it? Not really sure. And in the end, it is our damage who used their resources pretty well.
Gonna win these gunfights over towards C as well. It was momentarily decap, but the kills once again just seem to go over towards Obey Alliance when they really need to. Physics is going to find one over towards B, and then Zokos will find Saki as well. COG team win condition is still there, but can this one be broken? B is currently being decapped. This could be a domination coming through, but there's not going to be enough time. Once again, our damage grasp it at the very, very final moments. 3-1 now. And again, it's the kills. Look how much they're in Obey Alliance's favor right now. And they are just not finding much for it. It has to be said, 22 eliminations, 7 deaths for TJ so far, and they're 3-1 down through.
I mean, look at Reader. He's not even broke 1,000 points. Neither is Cougars, but it doesn't matter. It's all about what you get for those kills. And at the moment, the points, they're sitting in our damage's favor whenever these fights are going down. Yes, Obey might have 2 hills, but in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much because there's already a 30-40 point lead for our damage every time that Obey do grab those 2 hills. They're just trying to claw back points every single time, and the kills doesn't really mean much. They're fighting to stay on their own home hill, essentially.
We have now changed points. We will move these over now. Just rotate them around by about 20 degrees or so on each site. Zorkos still getting very aggressive, and that's a few kills going to go over towards on damage now. Actually, yeah, this is over. They've been wiped off the face of the map so quickly, and it just comes down to winning a couple of important gunfights, and suddenly our damage, a 45-second round comes out of them. 4-1 now through. 1 round away.
That's on Obey. They've got to respect that. You saw our damage. They got the 2 kills at the other side of the map. And Obey, they still sat there. They couldn't push because of the torp in front of them, and they had people fighting behind them, but they were too slow to turn around and fight that. They got to react quicker at this point, and this is why our damage is so far up. 2 kills, that's all it took, and that's the round over.
Well, the disable comes in, first of all, from our damage, and then Obey Alliance have to answer in turn. So this time around, no torque bolt available for either team. Our damage quite happy to just go back to playing the normal Gears game. None of the power weapons in play. It is going to be an E and F capture here for Obey Alliance by the looks of things off the rip. D is going to be slow cap, so it just seems to be Obey getting there first this time round and will force out. They have put the numbers in the right place, but the retake will potentially come through from our damage. They didn't quite get E in time. TJ's going to have to back on down over towards F as well because they put a lot of resources into this R damage. There's a lot of people pushing towards it. There's going to be one drop going to come through. Reader will get dropped. Is Zorkos going to go be the next one to go down? Yes, he is. Bodies dropping all around F. Eventually, it will be Obey just to walk away as winners of this one. I say that, though. Physics is going to drop TJ. Can he do something magic here? He's going to find one onto TJ. Can he find the second on the breaker? This was shut down the home hill push all on his own pretty much, with the respawns coming back up. Gets a little bit of help as well. Nicely played by Physics. But it is Obey Alliance, once again with the control. But after some of these previous rounds we've seen, sometimes it counts for very little here through.
It does. I mean, that was all Saki. He opened up. He took the 1v1 against Cougars over at that E-hill to start the round off. And this time, it does indeed put Obey up. But our damage already back on that offensive. Managed to get the decap on E. Managed to get the decap on D. And they're looking pretty good right now. Though, once again, that playmaker, Saki, he is behind our damage. He's getting those Lancer bullets in the backside of them. And, well, he's opened up a route for his teammates to follow through now. D-hill going to go in their favor. Cougars off spawn. Let's see what he's up to.
We'll just play this one slow. Plenty of the round left to go now for our damage. They do find themselves behind, and with only 1 hill. But Obey Alliance, now the flash does come through. They need to win these gunfights, really. As said, they are 1 round away from losing this one. Warrior is going to find one onto Strikers. Physics is able to answer back with a kill onto Saki, but that suits Obey Alliance, who are going to continue to get aggressive here. They have lost D, but they're looking for the retake. Breaker's going to find 1, Breaker's going to find 2, and he will find the break onto the hill and the hill at D. And that should now be a swarm win condition within 60. Reader and Zorkos are going to answer back with some kills. This is an important gunfight here now. Breaker really needs to stay alive. A decap is fine, but is going to just back on down. Thinks about the numbers that will be coming off spawn here. Going to be hard for Breaker to find much. Just go back, help your team out somewhere else, but is continuously just trying to stay alive here. Plenty of members of our damage chasing him down here through.
They are, but he's taking a lot of time out of their plan, right? They do kill him in the end, but Swarm, they're still in that win condition. They still do have hold of this airfield. And we do have Demonic just hiding out here. Striker's going to go in for that 1v1. Looking for it. Does get a beautiful kill there on Demonic. Now, TJ, is he going to be the second victim? The pistol is trying to come out. Breaker's off spawn as well, so Striker's in a bit of a sticky situation here. Does get the one. Physics going to try to change with that down as well. Isn't going to get cleaned up, though. He's going to get back off. And, well, Obey, they defend well.
Yeah.
Honestly, Breaker come off spawn. He saved them there. Striker's looked like he was going to go into clutch mode. In the end, the spawns, those faster respawns now, helping out Obey.
Looks like Obey should be able to get another one on the board here. They're at 60 up. It would take an absolute collapse from them to lose this one now, you feel. Keeping hold of E is all they need to do, and that is why we are seeing them back on down. It looks like TJ is actually just going to be running away. If they can just hold E here for 3 more seconds, they will win the round. No way for our damage to get back into this one. Not close enough. Obey Alliance do take round number 6, 4-2 now. So getting a little bit closer, but a much better round from Obey. One of those ones where they did actually keep control of what they needed to, played their lives a little bit better when they had the advantage. Those eliminations, though, for being 4-2 down are quite ridiculous.
They are, and you know, the kill that made the difference there was Saki. He opened up on that 1v1. I'd like to see what's going to go on there at that helicopter fight this time around as well, because he got his team so far ahead with 40 points lead. You know, it was difficult for our damage to come back from that kind of deficit. In the end, even all the control in the world wasn't enough, and we did see Obey come through, take the second round, and look for their third. Let's have a look at this overhead map. What's going on? We do have the torp bows. Both torp bows taken down to 75 seconds on that respawn. So I expect them to come back up a little bit sooner this time around.
Let's see if our damage can seal the deal here. Now I'm going to get a hold of F, and we can see Warrior Guns. We haven't really seen many torp bows be hit by anybody. Honestly, I can't recall. So maybe somebody can make the difference with this torp bow. They are aware that there's one down the left-hand side over towards mid there. Warrior Guns is going to have to back on down. I say that. Zorkos is going to eventually get a kill. And that's on to TJ as he does go down. It's going to give less for Obey Alliance to play with here over towards F, as that looks to be the player from them. Zorkos is going to be put down here. Not quite. Does just about get away eventually. And just will survive. Just. Very, very close. A couple of bullets away from dropping down, and that would have been the total gone as well, albeit only 1 bullet left. It might be all he needs. Not quite. He isn't able to land it, but here we go. Obey now making the push over towards F, and this has to be a good defense by our damage if they want to seal it here in round number 7. Kills being traded, but mostly going over towards Obey. Sorry, our damage, I should say. Zorkos is going to find Breaker, and he will find his teammate on the floor as well. We'll pick physics up. The defense holds for our damage. Yeah,
this is looking good for our damage. Zorkos doing nice there just to pick up that 1 kill before going for the revive. Just relieves the pressure a little bit on his team. And now where's Zorkos off to? It looks like he's going to be just heading back, getting the second torp bow. Perhaps even maybe trading for that Lancer. I mean, if I was Zorkos, I would have picked that Lancer there, but he opts not to. Going to go with a pistol instead. So that's enough. Physics now. 4th member of our damage to have a go on this torp bow now. Doesn't seem like they've got priority. Obviously, on Obey's side, the priority is definitely on Warrior Guns to be picking that up.
Well, the push has now come through from Strikers. He will be dropped. So F should go over towards Obey. I think
there's a huge flank coming in from our damage, though.
Let's see.
They are straight over onto this D hill already. They're just trying to get the kill on Demonic here. Demonic perhaps needs to just back off a little bit, wait for his teammates.
Does well not to over-engage in that one. Get yourself out of there. Regroup and go again. It is a COG team win condition.
It is indeed. I mean, 80 points up now. They're looking pretty good here, our damage. And 20 seconds and they will take this first map. But TJ, he's answering up. Breaker's got a kill with a torp bow now. TJ's picking up with a headshot, and it looks like Warrior Guns managed to take out Zorkos. Cougar's got to fight for his life, but Warrior Guns picks up the double kill. And this looks like it might be possible for Obey to come back and take this round. TJ's managed to get the kill on Reader, and they just need this decap now. Where's Striker's going to go?
It's going to go over towards F, where his teammate is there as well. Physics is going to be dropped, but is going to be picked back up. Warrior Guns is doing a great job, though, and just slowing this one down. Swarm win condition is not going to come up, though, because of how close our damage are. They should be able to put this one to bed. Here comes TJ, though, just trying to decap it. He manages to get the decap in as well. Is this going to be enough? They now need to win the gunfights. Warrior Guns is going to drop Cougars. Demonic has to be the last one. He's dropped so fast. The win condition comes in for Kog. That's an R damage victory. And map number 1, 5-2 for them. And they just out-rotated Obey Alliance, in all honesty. We talk about Vazgar being a very, very different map. It's one of those that really, it doesn't necessarily come down totally towards these kills. Yes, okay, you may be Obey Alliance finding kills on occasion in clusters, if anything, but then there's always somebody from R damage making that move elsewhere to secure the victory round after round after round. 5-2, a convincing map number 1 out of R damage. And now I fear for my pick of Obey Alliance 2-1. I really, really do. R damage looking good there.
I also fear for that prediction, to be honest with you. From what I saw there, our damage...
I thought I was a GS caster, maybe not, yes.
You got time. You got lots of time.
Yeah.
No, I think our damage just looked very strong. I think they were making the plays that were gaining them a lot of points, and they were catching Obey off guard for a lot of that. You saw right in that last round, that rotation round the back of Obey. Obey were fully committed to that home hill fight over on our damage's side, and our damage put their hands up and said, we don't want this. We want the the other hill, the other side of the map. And they just made a mockery really out of Obey. I think they look very, very good.
I think I said it doesn't really come down to those kills. I think if you're Obey, you look at this one back and you're probably really frustrated because you know you can slay with them. They absolutely can. They are there with our damage when it comes to the slaying department, but it just comes down to our damage having the numbers elsewhere, or just being a little bit sneaky where they could maybe find a route through where they can just decap something to stop the points coming through. They stop the bleeding when they do lose a lot of people quite quickly, and that's one of the biggest issues. I mean, the amount of times that we've seen a round just go down to a 10, maybe 5-point difference in our damage's favor. A couple of them were really, really close, 10 seconds here or there, and Obey would have been able to do it, but our damage just seemed to time it perfectly at times. They will be able to, as said, do all those little annoying things where they're decapping somewhere or they're just rotating somewhere. There's one member somewhere on another home hill that's really, just causing all sorts of problems, even if you are on our damage and you are losing these big gunfights. But this is how this one did break down. It was a 5-2 victory on Vazgar for our damage, who will be feeling good going into map number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Asylum map number 2. That's our damage's bread and butter here in this pro league. They played it a lot of times now. They are getting better and better by my understanding. And I think Obey, they've got a very uphill battle ahead of them right now because they didn't do. I believe they played this map in the very first week against our damage, and I believe. They got smoked. So
maybe we're not too sure.
I don't know. Don't quote me, but I think they did.
I'm quoting you.
And if it's anything like that first week, then we're going to see a very quick
I'm trying
Asylum.
to cast my mind back to 6 weeks ago here through. My memory's decent. It's not that good though. Top of my head, they definitely lost Exhibit. I remember that rightly because that was the very first game of the Pro League, of course. Can't remember the other one, I'll be honest. Either way, though, we have seen our damage look good on Asylum. If they can do that again here in the first series of the day of week number 6, then they will walk away as winners. Looking good from them there, though. Anybody stand out in particular? I think it was just a good team effort, to be honest.
Honestly,
they just were playing Vazgar correctly.
Yeah, I think, if you say, is that down to anyone? It's down to leadership for making the right calls, for all the players for responding to those calls. And honestly, I believe it was just a team effort. There wasn't really a standout player for me. They just made the right plays as a team.
Well, they played 12 rounds on Vazgar now, and they've won 10 of them. That's a pretty good return. It's a pretty good return. I think, and it's a map that hadn't made it in for our damage until last week. And maybe that's one of these things where they haven't played very much, but they're like, oh, actually, you know what? We're all right at this. It's good to see because it's never their pick when they go into it either, and they'd be happy to see the win on that map, especially going to San Diego to have another string to your bow where you can say, actually, you know what? We're all right at that, so if it does get picked, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It might not be one of our first picks. Asylum's always going to come through there, but if they know they have that Vazgar potentially in the back pocket, that's something good going over towards San Diego. Of course, that major coming up this weekend. The players will pretty much be flying out, I'd imagine, like tomorrow or Wednesday as well.
I believe,
where not.
Next time.
Yeah. I'm not better. I'm not better.
On that point though, on the picks and bans point, it's fantastic for a team to go in and not have to auto ban a map. In Gears 4 we sort of used Finest come in.
Big map pool is good.
Yeah, they just banned out Harbour every single time because they just didn't want to play it. They weren't confident on it, and they weren't confident on winning it. This time around, if our damage in this example can go in and know that they don't need to spend that as a primary ban, as a ban that they will always go for. They can just start targeting those other teams, right? And they can just target out those good maps for the other teams. And that's a very good strength to have going into a huge major like San Diego.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Is how do you play your picks and bans? Do you play to your strengths? Do you play to your enemy's weaknesses? It's hard to say. We'll see how it does develop. But here we go. We are going to move over towards 5 times our damage. I've played this one now over 6 weeks of Pro League. So this will be every single week they've played it, actually. Yeah. This will be number 6, of course. Only a 40% win percentage, of course. But I think, a couple of those going up against the EU's finest are never going to help things in the statistical department. But they are up here against OB Alliance, and it will now be our damage on Swarm, albeit on the COG side of things. Can our damage get it done at 2, or can OB make a game of this one?
Find out very shortly as we do get into this. Physics is going to be the man we're on board with right away. He's already picked up 1 kill. Our damage did open up with that first breaking kill on Warrior Gun. Saki going to respond with a down on Strikers. And Demonic going to go in and clean that up. Right now, it's just a tug of war. It's just about trading this mid-control. No one has got control of any points. The home hills are easily capped up. The problem is, no one can really get B-hill because both teams have got a good hold on it. So they've got to find these picks. They've got to find their opening route. And right about now, Physics, he believes that's that through that mid-control.
Physics down, letting shots over towards TJ. We'll just control this middle area. That little alleyway is so important as well, isn't it? There's so many different ways you can get, and it's just a quick movement through the map as well. You can make this push over towards Breaker, who is just really in a horrible spot. How has he got out with even getting the kill there? That's phenomenal from Breaker. You might only see 1 kill come up in the kill feed, but the fact that he was surrounded by 3 members of our damage, gets the down, finishes it off, and gets out as well. A testament to his experience. Well played by Breaker, and he will back Strikers down as well. And honestly, if Breaker goes down in that scenario, maybe our damage do get a hold of that A-hill.
Yeah, and they should have got hold of that A-hill.
I mean, they should have.
Quite
I mean,
honestly,
we can talk about how well Breaker played it, but questions to be raised for our damage.
Yeah, I mean, they timed it wrong because Warrior Guns was coming to spawn, so
yeah.
that was a bit of a timing issue. Secondly, yeah, Breaker should not have got out of there. Thirdly, honestly, I believe they should have just gone in for the decap anyway and made Breaker make that choice. Because Breaker got forced into making that fight, right? He had no decision. He just had to go for the fight. You give him the choice, he panics a little bit. Maybe he makes a mistake. But no mistakes here. Breaker already on that home hill, already on that C hill, sorry. And doing the work for his team. We called him out earlier on. We called Saki out. He had a good showing. This time around, Breaker, he's looking pretty good here on map 2. Obviously in the first round, though. Long way to go just yet.
Warrior Guns is going to find Rita. Will be dropped by Physics, who has somehow found himself up top bridge. They did just go in for the decap over towards A, but they may actually suffer for this one. Breaker finds 2 with the help of Warrior Guns. They will lose C, but the damage might already be done, as we can now see them concentrating over towards B. Nicely done by Obey. Can they keep them off A here as well? Looks like they will. Nice start on Asylum for Obey. They want 0 down, but they want 0 up here on Asylum.
That was the Breaker show. The entire round was just Breaker going off. Just kill after kill. Wasn't flashy, apart from that last double kill.
Yeah.
But perfect play from Breaker. Just opening up options for his team there. And that's what you want from that leader, right? You want him to be the person that can really take the charge and just take the team with you. That round looked pretty good. If you can carry on doing that, Obey, they might be in with a chance here to win on Asylum. But see what's going to get placed. Flashbangs down on either side. The Swarm side is going to be on the top half. The COG is going to be on the bottom half. So a little bit of a change, but same weapon either way. Just shows which team's prioritizing which area of the map, right? You see the COG there prioritizing this B fight.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, for me, I'd rather see it over towards, when we get into the second half, you've got something built up a little bit more for the bridge fight. Up towards, I think it is E, that ends up there. I think for me, I would prioritize that, but who am I to call out the strategies of these 2 pro teams, of course. A and B are going to go over towards our damage this time round, though. They will win that initial this time round. Obey are answering back, though, like they did in map number 1. It seems as if these flurry of kills come through for Obey Lions quite a lot. Can they make it count this time, though? Looks like a home hill hold for these 2 now. A and C will come through for Obey, but we know the rotation over towards B will come through very, very quickly, and this is nicely done by Obey. In all honesty, they've timed it perfectly with the train coming through as well.
Yeah, they're
not quite your train timings this week. You were.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Rocking up a little late. We'll not call it late. Maybe just not early.
Yes, yeah, we'll go with that. only what 2 hours and 45-minute delayed this week on trains, so we're doing all right.
Well, let's talk about it though, Apple.
Right. These trains though on Asylum, they run on time.
Get TFL on the line. Tell them you're not happy.
I'm not name dropping.
No,
not at all. I will say. I will say, Obey. They're looking pretty good now, though. They are set up in a good spot right now. Saki's got that mid control. They've already got the B hill. This makes it difficult for our damage to really make a choice here, especially with Rita all the way down here. You know, he's supporting, he's hiding, and he's going to Lancer Saki in the back here. But he's so far away from the fight, you can't really support other than that little bit of Lancer fire.
That's the thing, the position really not the best there. And once again, Obey will just win these gunfights. They have actually managed to lose B in the flurry of that one, but they are just now chasing down these kills to try and secure the round. Don't think it'll be elimination. There is going to be respawns coming back up for Cougars, although it is going to be the elimination in the end, choosing not to respawn back in. Another round for Obey Alliance, yeah.
They're looking stronger, to be honest with you. They're looking good on the fights on the tracks.
And the thing is, for me, is that when they're winning they're stretching our damage constantly, which is what they didn't really do. They were very lineal when it was coming to Vazgar, which is quite weird to say considering it's like obviously like a circular map and it's all about this rotation, but it was like get the kills, push forward, get the kills, push forward. But this time they're getting the kills and they're pushing around. It just seems as if they are getting a hold of the sites that they need to when they have the number advantages this time round. And I think maybe just it not being Vazgar, being a bit more of a linear map, they find it maybe a little bit easier. I think it's harder to read on Vazgar because people can just run through the middle of the map. You don't know where they are.
You also end up in like the I don't know if you've seen the ant death circles that you get in nature. If you haven't, Google it. But basically what happens is the ants just chase each other, right? Because they're following the path of their teammates. Yeah. And I feel that's kind of what happens to Obey, is that they get the kill and they see the teammates get a kill in front of them, so they chase on, they chase on, they chase on, and they keep running in the circle, but around them, our damage, just picking up the rounds, picking up the points, right? And in the end, it's actually doing them more harm than good.
Right. So Obey are like an ant death circle. Is that what we're
David
calling
Attenborough, he'd be proud of me right about now. Just saying. But it's true. It's true. Google it. You'll see what I mean.
I don't know. I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean, and I agree. Oh my word!
That's beautiful.
Sticks that on the top of Rita's head. See you later, pal. The incend comes through, but that will actually deter Obey Alliance from making the push over towards B. Striker stays alive in the middle, finds a kill on TJ as well. Demonic crucially gets that kill on Zolkos as well, though. It will stop him getting a hold of B. Demonic will now freely capture the track's site and will back on down. It is advantage to Obey Alliance, but here come our damage now. Not much to play with here either. Couple of flashes, which will now go over towards Saki and Demonic. Can they put them off enough to get a hold of B? Not quite. Physics just tickled the site, if you like, and it will now make the push onto it as the rest of his team do cover with the Lancer Fire. Nicely done here by our damage. They're just going to take it down. Now find themselves in a better position as well. Get some good shots in, and then you can see him make the push through once again. Train's about to come through. Physics uncontested pretty much will get a hold of B. Here comes the train as well, but it will not matter. Demonic's already dead. Saki now just trying to keep them at bay. But up top, if you're a bit, I think you're going to be pushing C a lot faster there. There was a lot of resources put towards B for our damage, and now you need to make them pay for that one. Push comes through, nicely done by Warrior Guns, Breaker and TJ. They do stretch over towards C. They will capture it as well. A couple of kills going to go over towards our damage, though. So they're not out this round quite yet, but it is an Obey Alliance win condition in 60 seconds.
Yeah, they made that play this time around, and it might have been ever so slightly too slow, but in the end, so were our damage. So Obey, they come out, they've got this double cap right about now. They've got full control over bridge, and that's the play they needed to make. If they can get TJ alive, this will be big, and he does get out alive. He's actually got himself down as well. So Warrior Gun's going to go on the offensive, looking for the second kill as Cougars. He seems to be the next victim in play. Two big hard aims there. Third one does do it. Warrior Gun's taking out Cougars again now. TJ, he's in the hill as well, just forcing our damage to make these mistakes. A good shot grenade coming in, but in the end, it's not going to really matter. And it is going to be Obey now picking up 3 rounds in a row.
I tell you what, that 2-1 win's looking all right here, Fru. It's looking all right.
I'm not going to disagree at this point. I think Obey, they're looking good.
I mean, we said that our damage do like this map, but honestly, their stats are not fantastic on that. I think I was maybe just pointing that towards playing EU's finest on this twice and losing it twice, if I believe so. Yeah. But realistically, outside of that, they obviously have lost it otherwise. But here we are. Obey Alliance 3-0 to the good. A potential training grounds map number 3 coming up. If they can find themselves there, here we go. Drop shot now placed in the middle, and that is by Strikers on the R damage side, clearly saying to themselves that something needs to change as we head into round number 4. That is all changed now.
It is a change for sure. I'm not sure it's the right change. Obey, they look really strong in this drop shot fight against EU's finest, and I'm not sure our damage, are much better at it, to be honest with you. So I think that could have been better placed, but we'll see how it unfolds because, well, right about now, it does look like our damage are going to be the ones picking up that drop shot. Strikers is going to get it out. He's going to try and take the first shot. Does get Warrior Gun's full red. Breaker getting that incendiary kill as well. Does help things, but it is going to be our damage extracting the drop shot. Let's have a look. Let's see what Strikers is doing with it. Looks like he's going to be capping up his own hill and then heading over to the B hill to support here. He's got this high side little vantage point here. And this is a great spot if you are the defending team because you've got that crossover into the B hill.
Yeah.
If you're the attacking team, it's actually probably better to try and push down into that middle, into that middle route. But right about now, Strikers, he just needs to defend, just needs to try and hold off Obey.
Will Obey actually get a chance to jump on because of the fact that the train comes through. TJ is eventually going to be dropped there though, and then we'll lose the numbers over towards B. So the train comes through and that works out for Obey. As I said, it gives them that little bit of cover to capture B, albeit it may actually only be momentarily. The kills now coming through for our damage though. They are just about going to get over towards B. It looks like they are going to be able to capture this one as well. So eventually do get some sort of control here, our damage. Even though they got the drop shot, they really have been on the back foot, if you like, in terms of controlling points. Keep an eye on that drop shot coming back up fairly shortly. Was it another 50 seconds or so? So that's where the round will probably develop. I'd imagine both teams are probably just going to take their time, try set up for this one. We can see Obey Alliance do have a little bit of control over towards top bridge, and they are making the push over towards B as well to maybe draw more members over. It's a 3-on-3 fight here. Both teams just waiting for something to happen. The flashes come through left and right. Zolkos and Cougars have to back on down. And this will be an easy B capture for Obey Alliance. Just use their flash as well. And it's going to come down to this fight up top B. Up top bridge, I should say. When we're talking about the drop shot, that could become very, very influential. Everybody dropping here, though, from Obey Alliance. Plenty of good Lancer fire coming through from our damage. It will back Obey on down. Demonic is still there, still being aggressive, trying to just hold it from the front. Here comes the trains from either two sides. That will slow down the push initially. But if you are Obey, you have to back on down because the shot comes through. That should be a drop shot now for our damage. It works out in their favor, but they have lost B.
They have lost B, and they might lose their drop shot as well. If Warrior Guns can get the kill, he does indeed. Gets the down, doesn't get the kill in the end, so Strikers still able to take this drop shot out. Does get a headshot with it straight away, so that's nicely played. Let's jump on board with the second shot. Isn't going to be doing anything apart from forcing TJ out into the open now. And now if TJ can get a kill, that would be big. It doesn't in the end. Our damage playing that pretty well indeed. Another shot coming out from Strikers, just firing that out up to top bridge. Could have done maybe with one more drop shot as he is going to get lanced down heavily here.
It's a big fight going to go on, let's see in a second. Demonic and Co just trying to have a hold of this one. They are going to be trying to hold the home hills. TJ is going to kill Cougars over towards C as well. Looks like there's one more fight going on there, but we will go over towards B. Saki now making his move for this one. Everyone's thinking about the home hill. Saki's thinking about B. Shot's going to go through. He will find one. The domination is denied, but albeit momentarily. Breaker getting it done inside of A though. Finds two. Isn't going to need to find the third. The domination comes through at the end. That's 4-0 now to Obey Alliance. They lose the fight over towards B and they just rotate to the home hills, force our damage to have to make the move, but then they win the gunfights, winning them at the important time this time round. 4 in a row for Obey. Our damage really teetering on the edge of sending us to a map number 3 here.
That they are, and honestly now, you know, they're ahead on kills once again, but the kills this time are meaning so much more for Obey. They're doing very, very well to get a lot of points out of every single skirmish that they come across. Let us jump up on board with this E-hill fight once again. See what happens. Both teams are going to go at it. Jump back out a little bit. The shot grenade's going to come down now. Warrior Guns has managed to find himself into that entrance. The incendiary just come over. Warrior Guns needs to get some damage down on Strikers, but he isn't going to be able to. Just get taken out in the end. The question is can his team get him back up again? I'm not sure they will be able to. Warrior Gun's going to fall down. Zorkos now crawling around in that opening. Saki with a nice bit of pistol fire, Lancer fire there.
Strikers.
Breaker's going to go down. Strikers gets one. Strikers gets two now, and he's looking for his third one. Is he going to be able to take it? No. Demonic shuts him down. Demonic also looking for his second one. The knife comes out, but Physics shuts him down. Zorkos taking out that drop shot, and this time our damage, they come out, they win the fight, they take the drop shot as well, and now they're on the offensive. This is a bit of a better opener from them. Yeah,
getting aggressive towards T, thinking about it. They are going to get a hold of F once again. TJ was flirting with the idea of pushing that one. Did make the push, but did get taken down. So now it's just an A recapture coming in from Obey potentially here. Here comes the drop shot. It's placed perfectly by Zorkos. Finds two on the stairs. And this could be the little bit of light that our damage need. They need a little bit of hope to get back into this game. 4 rounds down. It's one more for Obey. Our damage, though, looking to finally get on the board here. This is the best they've played so far, you would say, in one of these rounds, the best position they've been in.
You would say that for sure. We've still got 75 seconds on the respawn there for Strikers for this drop shot. Sorry, for Zorkos. He has got another shot, though, so he's going to drop that one down. Doesn't get anything this time. It just clip a wall, so we'll fall into that drop state. Now, Zorkos. I mean, do you save that if you're Zorkos? I mean, I would be...
Yeah.
I think
hindsight is 20/20, I suppose. You know, if he hits a shot there, then
you get another double kill, then perhaps.
Yeah. It's one of those that, you know, you take the chance, you don't necessarily hit it. So execution being the problem that time round. Our damage have 2 members over towards D, though. They are going to find Demonic. They are going to stretch this one. So for all Obey have put into E, over towards the middle of the map. They've lost their home hill. And here comes Rita from behind. Is he going to find anything? Not quite. Saki shuts him down instantly. And that's a big kill from him. A flank coming through here could have been disastrous for Obey. They will lose the fight, but they could have lost a lot more here. Strikers is going to find Saki, and they will now make a push over towards D, but Obey Alliance still alive in this round. Breaker, good incent from him, is going to back Strikers down. He will have to retreat in this situation, but Breaker doing well to stay alive once again.
I mean, Cougar just needs to move and get the hill. I don't know, he's constantly trying to get this elimination victory. You know, they could have already had the domination in the time that it took them to get that, but in the end, they got the kill. They do win their first round of Asylum. And that was a lot better from our damage.
Yeah.
You called it out. It was a better round from them. Was it flawless? I'm not too sure, but it was a hell of a lot better. And if they are to do anything here, if they are to come back down from 4-0 to win 5-4, they will indeed need to carry on exactly how they just left off in that round. Let's have a look at the weapon placements going down. Breaker, see what he responds with here. He's going to drop that shot grenade, so now we've got 2 shot grenades, and that's crucial, actually, for Obey.
Yeah, that's been the problem for them over towards this east side, where the drop shot is, of course. That shot grenade being available on the side of our damage just really meant things a lot easier for them, and that's why we've seen them get a hold of that drop shot last 2 times. I mean, definitely, the shot grenades are a massive, massive factor, and they're going to come to play this time round. Flashes come out initially. Strikers was thinking about the push. There comes the shock. But if anything, that's just going to stop Obey really doing anything themselves. In all honesty, now they can't do anything at all.
And they do still have the shot grenade on the side of our damage.
That's going to go on the stairs.
We discussed it a couple of weeks ago, actually, about how do you play that shot grenade? Do you wait? Do you use your flashes? Do you try and absorb the opposition shot grenade first and then use it? It's exactly what our damage have done. A great incendiary, though, from Breaker.
I mean, it's been there for about 20 minutes, Strikers. I'm not quite sure how he ran into it.
See him writhing around, but they have extracted the drop shot, which is the key important thing here. And they are going to use it to get a kill on Saki, so that's going to open up that mid route now for our damage to move through. They have got this double cap as well, so they're looking pretty good right about now. All they got to do is just absorb a little bit of pressure here from Obey, and they might get their second round.
Maybe wouldn't have liked to see that be used by Physics there. I don't really... Yes, okay, they get the kill in the mid-back, but for me, I think that's potentially a bit of a waste. You've got 2 hills. You're in a pretty decent spot. Is it one of those that maybe I'm overthinking this one through, or is that maybe one of those where, you know, you sort of say, well, okay, you found a kill, but what has it got you?
It hasn't got them anything. I mean, it took a little bit of pressure off Cougars, to be honest, but if Cougars dies there, they don't really lose anything anyway, so it is one of those where, you know, you probably could have kept it. The one thing it does get is, you know, an extra kill on Saki going into these later rounds. Perhaps, you know, you start to play on that life advantage, but right now, Saki still got 2 left. He's going to get another one at the end of this round, and doesn't really matter too much. Obey, though, they are stacking up in this middle. It, you know, begs the question, what are you planning? Saki are going to go in with that flash grenade, and it looked like the play was on Cougars once again, but Cougars managed to get himself out. Saki is going to go down. The top hill still being kept, and now a huge point lead for our damage. It looks like Obey have decided that, yes, they need to indeed try and attack this E-hill once again.
Grenade's going to be coming up, and they will come up, actually. So that's now going to be influential as we push over towards E. Who's going to use them better this time around? It was definitely our damage last time. Cougars and Zorkos, though. Trading kills here. Saki is going to down Breaker, but we'll get him back up. Demonic, though, is going to drop himself. So, our damage in control here of top E. We take a minor miracle for Obey to come back into this round. Not going to happen this time. Breaker will go. Our damage now 4-2. So that's 2 rounds in a row from them. That's a 4 off the bounce for Obey. Heading into round number 7, the game's getting a little bit more interesting. If you're Obey, you want to close this now. The closer our damage get, the more you feel like they could swing this one back round. Can we see any more strange placements? I don't think we will. I'd imagine we'll see teams start to upgrade their side, their home side, but Is maybe the deny going to come in this time round? Of course, actually, no, that's our damage side, of course. There we go. Retro Lancer now going to be placed down, so that's going to help them over towards tracks. What's going to go on with the drop shot? It looks like Obey are hovering over something here.
Perhaps just dropping the time down there. We'll see in just a second.
They honestly, since that's been in play, they have not looked as solid in this game.
Disable going down. I mean, this is a strong play actually from Obey.
I like that.
They've realised they need to win one round. They realise that that drop shot is always going over to our damage, and it has been key in shutting them down in these openers. So why not block it out? Why not go for that big fight up top? And that big fight up top, it looks like exactly what they're going to go down. Flash grenade comes out. Second flash grenade comes out. Shot grenade comes out afterwards to block off the route, and that is a beautiful extraction there from Obey. I really like what I see there. But on the other side of things, what have our damage done? They have tried to get a bit of control in middle just to try and pull Obey backwards basically from this bridge. I would have liked to have seen our damage go a little bit heavier over on tracks, to be honest with you. They knew they were at a very, very big disadvantage going into that middle fight. It was almost impossible to get that out. Give it up. Give it up. Try for a different play. Maybe go and get home hills, something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking that to myself. It was one of those where, you know, you've got that Retro Lancer, especially over towards the tracks as well, albeit it's, you know, it's not a hugely powerful gun, but it definitely gives you a bit more of an advantage. You send the numbers over towards tracks, you maybe go for the home hill, but then you have a drop shot to contend with. This time they baited out from Warrior Guns. He's not going to find anything this time around, but he will keep a hold of E. Just choosing his moment to use it best. TJ is going to get dropped over towards D. Here comes the home hill push out of our damage, but this is the problem, is that they were going to make this push. If they had done this at the beginning of the round, they had the drop shot to contend with. Warrior Guns are going to find one onto Reader. Zorkos is there now, just trying to capture E. Will be backed on down. And they will actually lose control of D here as well. The shots do come through from Warrior onto Strikers, who will get dropped. And they will just about keep a hold of D, but for all that, they do lose control of E. Our damage in control of this round now.
They are, but they are going to get pushed 4 on 3 in a second. So they are wanting to take this E hill backwards. Flash is going to come out. The decap's going to come out as well, and Obey doing well, but Cougar's just out of nowhere comes flying in. They're going to leave him down, actually. There's nothing really to play for here. Take that me shield, use him as a bit of a buffer, and that has just granted Obey a free cap here from, you know, a very wild push actually from Cougars. I'm not quite sure that's exactly what was needed. I would have gone perhaps over to that home hill, but
he's one of those, isn't he, Cougars, that sometimes the aggression is fantastic and it does pay off, but then other times he just seems to, you know, forget where his brain is and just makes a silly, silly push. But either way, it looks like our damage are actually going to get back control of E here. And this is very doable for them. The win condition should be in their favor. It will be 50 seconds away.
And it was also a perfectly timed push for the drop shot. It was really nice play actually by our damage, especially just led by Strikers there. And now he's gone back. He's going to try and get a bit of... Gonna get a bit of Lancify down. Doesn't really matter. Cougar's going to pick up one. Saki almost gets his second, but Zorkos just sidesteps him. Managed to get that kill. TJ falls as well, and 3 now dead for Obey. Cog team, they will still win in 60 seconds if they can get this cap up at E hill. That will half that, but it does seem to be going back in our damage's favour. 197, 191 the score, and Zorkos trying to make his way over to this D hill. If he gets this D cap, that would be big. You're just waiting to see exactly what Obey's play is. Has to move up now, otherwise the train's going to block him off, so he's got a 1v1 against Breaker. He's probably going to get shot in the side if he's not quick, so has to make this push forward. Jump on board with Zorkos. Let's see how he plays this fight.
The fight's been won up top towards E as well, and Zorkos, he's done very, very well to get so far, but he doesn't even need to win it, really. The rest of his team getting the job done over towards E. They will hold on up top. Breaker will get the flank in behind, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference yet.
I'm not sure. Warrior's got one. If he can get in the hill and get the decap, there's potential here. Isn't going to do it, though. The knife does come out, and now 3 rounds in the row for our damage. Is this going to be a choke from Obey? Are our damage going to be able to make the comeback from 4-0 down? They've still got 2 rounds to go. There's still a big mountain ahead of them, but they're looking pretty strong in these latter rounds, and that was Obey's round to close it out there. They had that shot dropped off, and they didn't make the use of it.
So now Obey are at a statistical disadvantage, if you like. Disable is now being placed, so they will not have the shock to play with. And I'd imagine that they probably are just going to place the same on the other side. Oh, frag grenade comes through. So that could actually help them over towards the drop shot. It will be slightly late, of course. But that might help them. I prefer that to the Retro Lancer pick, personally.
Yeah, I do as well. I think that's a smart upgrade. You've seen them already use those incendiaries over towards the back of this E fight. The grenades, they're only going to get more kills, to be honest with you. But it does
coming through.
Depend if Striker can get this out. You hear the grenade come flying in. Are they going to be able to get it though? This is the exact perfect situation. You want those grenades in, right? You want them coming over, picking up the kills whilst they're trying to revive it.
I didn't even hear it.
I have no idea. Couldn't see it at all.
Is Saki still get a hold of it there? No.
Saki's got what looks to be flash.
That's a flash, yeah. So this one is
clearly being lobbed and used, and
yeah, it's clearly being used. You would have thought it would be invested over towards E, but I didn't see anything coming through. Our damage are in control.
Strikers with another headshot with that drop shot as well. But it looks like Obey, they're going to push in here. They've got 3 downs, and this is actually big. Physics and Zorkos, they got to be careful here because they're going to get flanked big time. Zorkos, he's got to take this fight. He has to get the kill on Warrior Guns, but Warrior Guns has got the down now. Looking for the kill, does manage to get the kill on Zorkos. Looking for his second one. He's going to get down by his teammate, but it looks like Cog. Are they going to be able to get it? The domination is denied.
That's just over towards the home hill. I think if you're a bit, back off here. You back off, you're in a good spot. You got control of E and F. Pin them in if you can. But they keep getting aggressive. Very aggressive over towards D. The gunfights, which way are they going to go? Strikers is the only one answer back. This should be a map win here for OB Alliance. Can Zorkos get something done, though? Somehow still alive. TJ is just trying to get this domination done. Can he find the kill here? And it's a phenomenal defensive hold from Zorkos, who will just clean up shop and keep our damage in the game. If you're OB Alliance, you've got to back off there, surely. You're in such a good spot. Lancer them in, just keep them there, but they've seen victory. But it is just about still in the control of our damage to get something done. Zorkos is just not stopped. 26 eliminations, 10 deaths from him. And this could be our damage now. Getting a hold of E. The win condition will belong to them very, very shortly. Look at the kills, though. They're flying through for our damage here. Zorkos is just reignited the fire, but TJ in a good spot. This is going to just about deny that domination coming through. He will decap D, maybe even capture this one this time around to try and stop them. Will get the kill too, so Obey still in this round, but how of our damage held on? I have no idea.
A beautiful triple by Zorkos is the only thing I can give you as a response. Cougars has managed to get himself that drop shot. He's got to defend E with all his life, all his might right about now. We've told him he's been the Spanish god for a few different LAN events we've seen him play. But this time around does get shut down by Obey. The point lead is in now, 70 points to their advantage.
Respawn's gone for Rita.
Yeah, we've got Demonic down on 0 as well, Saki too, so we've got to keep an eye on these things as we head into these latter stages. 18 seconds now before Obey do take this second map. Are our damage going to be able to take this? Are they going to be able to get this decap? It is up to Strikers to make this first push. And you see now, the pincer mover is coming in. They've managed to get the decap on E, and now it's all on our damage. Can they push in? Can they get the kills?
Demonic gets an important one to Strikers. It wouldn't surprise me to see him just extend over towards D, even if his teammates lose this gunfight, which it doesn't look like they're going to. Saki finds one, finds two. Can he find the third? It is Zorkos to try and keep his team in it once again. Not going to happen this time round. Obey. They do get it done to map number 2. A little bit later towards the end after a fantastic start. We are going to go to map number 3, though. Obey Alliance are alive in this series.
Warrior Guns coming in, MVP for that one. What an exciting end to the map. It looked like it was going to be just a whitewash. It looked like they were going to come through, 5-0 it, and that'd be it for Obey coming in. But no, our damage to Spark alive in the end. Obey hanging on. They did overextend in that last fight, I've got to admit. It did look like our damage were going to be able to take that advantage. But no, our damage in reply did the exact same thing. They had that control, and we saw them push up too far. They were just trying. They were pushed to the edge, basically.
I think it's at that point of where you've got like a few kills coming through. You get a little bit excited, and you're oh, domination! Quick, make the push. But then I think it's one of these things where you got to know when to be restrained. You've got to know that position when to stop. Both teams showing not how to do that whatsoever in a couple of different occasions. But in the end, Obey get it done, though.
Yes,
I mean, it's off the back of a really good start. There was a little tiny threat of an R damage comeback there. They did find a couple of rounds, but in the end, very impressed with Obey in that map. Very, very impressed.
You got to give them credit for their resilience, right? They took a tough loss on Vaskar, and they come back in, and they look like a new team, to be honest with you, over in Asylum. And if Training Grounds plays anything like that, I think your prediction might be in right here. You might be able to come out with that, with that big brain play. But honestly, it's on our damage to that they made the big plays. Zorkos came in with that clutch, the 3-piece, and
then we maybe see another round. Things get a bit more interesting. It's one of these things that our damage were in the ascendancy. They just couldn't quite find those last couple of clutch moments. They put themselves in a bad spot.
They did put themselves in a bad spot. The one thing that I can only really attribute it to is that the teams are still playing with the mindset that it's still that 7-round game.
Yeah.
And for me, at that point, you know, you're still trying to work out roughly what the timings are, when players are going to be back up, and a lot of that is subconscious. You're not often checking the leaderboard, right?
Yeah.
You might get the other occasion where you're like, okay, there's someone up in 4, someone up in 6, but a lot of it is that subconscious timing.
Yeah.
And without that, we're, you know, slightly skewed because of the changes in the respawn timer dropping by 2 seconds rather than 1 second now. Players coming back off spawn, both teams getting caught out because of that exact scenario. Maybe it's just a case of they need to play this a little bit more and get their timings back down again. Because, yeah, both teams basically threw their own lead away. In the end, Obey come out, clutch it up. Yeah, it's an exciting one, right? It's a super exciting one.
Yeah, it was a really, really good map. Number 2. Let's find out how we found ourselves going over towards Training Grounds. So our damage 5-2 in map number 1. If you didn't miss it, Obey Alliance 5-3 on Asylum. Sets us up nicely for a Training Grounds map number 3. What are we thinking then, Fro? I'm going to have to stick with my prediction because, I mean, why wouldn't I at this point? Good map from
Why wouldn't you?
Obey.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer. I'm trying to think of a way to go against Obey.
Don't sit on the fence now. Come on.
I'm gonna go our damage still. I do think that those 4 rounds in a row were not on form for our damage. However, haven't seen much of Training Grounds recently, and I kind of believe it plays a little bit more like Asylum than it does Vasgar.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking.
So does it suit Obey? Probably. If you're just taking this game into account, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Obey just, you know, they seem to get caught out by our damage in map number 1 on Vasgar with these rotations, with these little, well, I don't want to say sneaky players, but our damage just playing their resources in the correct positions, etc. Whereas on Asylum, they didn't really have to worry about that. They sort of dictated the map. They stretched our damage for the majority of the game. Can they do that on Training Grounds? Absolutely. It's one of those maps. Very, very similar to Asylum in a way. You know, you've got that 1 point up top. You've got 2 obviously down over towards the home hills. It's the way it's laid out is very, very similar. It's very, very different of Vasgar. And if we are talking about linear or circular maps on this one, well, Obey have won one of the linear ones. We're heading over towards a linear in the 3rd. You would sort of maybe lean towards them. Go with me. Go with my prediction. My Gears brain. It's clearly there. 6 weeks of this.
Give it another 15 minutes. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. This time, yes.
But yeah, I don't think you know, if Obey come out, fair enough. I feel like they've played well enough to come home with the series. So yeah, I'm excited to see which way it goes, and I think at this point it is just made the best team win.
Yeah, well, let's find out who's going to win this one. We are loading into map number 3 now. We are heading over towards Training Grounds. Both these teams have not played this map in the Pro League so far. We're in the final week of split number 1, map number 3, of game number 1, and here we are on Training Grounds first time. So we have really nothing to work off for this one, do we? We can basically go with, well, yeah, okay, our damage looked really good on Vasgar, which is a very different map to Asylum. Asylum was great for Obey, which is a bit similar to this. So maybe Obey will win it. Who knows? Let's be honest. We are going into map number 3 now. First to 5, we'll take this series, and we'll head into San Diego with a nice little win over each other. Which way does this one go, though?
This is the question. We will find out in the next 15 minutes or so. We do see Demonic just pushing over towards just this overlook. This is a very good strong position for Demonic just to hold down. You do have the ability to cross over onto the B hill from that position, and you know, it's pretty secure as well. You can hear most people coming up. You've got teammates in tow as well, just defending. We see Breaker sat right at the back over there, just holding Demonic's hand basically. Let him know that, you know, in this case, Striker is pushing up. See what happens in this. These two 1v1s right about now. Breaker, he's going to be taking the first one. Looks like Demonic's won his against Strikers up top as well. So Obey opening up strong here. There's 1v1 fights. We told it a couple of times already. Their slaying power has been unmatched in this series. However, you know, in the first match, it wasn't just about those kills. This time around, see if it is. They have got control of B already. This is a strong position from TJ as well, so yeah, they're playing the map correctly, Obey. This is what you want to see. And
that just comes from Obey winning those good fights up top, doesn't it? It helps them gain a little bit more priority over towards B. They've got better map positioning, but here we go. It's a 3-man hit from our damage up top. So they'll be wanting to get control of this one, but are Obey ready for it? TJ, as you said, in a fantastic position.
Yeah.
Can't be spotted from up top. We'll put some great Lancer Fire through as they do make this push over towards B. So Obey better set up this time round than our damage were at the initial. Our damage, though, they could make a push over towards C if they really did want to, but here comes the Flash. Cougars should surely be dead, you think. TJ in a good spot, finds him fairly easily.
Yep.
Rita was dropped, but didn't quite get cleaned up as far as I'm aware. Still crawling through the middle of the map here as well. So Obey do well, and they will just about defend their B side.
They will indeed, and that's all about those setups. Obey, they just had the better setups both times. They had the up-top control when they needed it. They relinquished it when they didn't. TJ, this spot is better than up-top once you've already got the hill.
Yeah.
And Obey knew that, and they played it well. You're right. Our damage, they should have made the push over towards C and just drawn Obey out of that B hill before they made the push there. Now, you see, they're just getting peppered from both sides. They're trying to make the push, but Obey, they've already got the setup once again. And Strikers is going to fall, Physics is going to fall, and this is beautiful from Obey once again. The defense is phenomenal.
They are going to lose C, though.
It's the time they've wasted, though.
Yeah,
look at the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's too little too late, isn't it? Unless a fantastic push can come in from our damage over towards B, but Obey should be set up nicely for it, though. Saying that, Saki has been caught off guard. B still going over towards our damage, but Obey do now have a hold of it. They've extended through. Nicely done from them. They will get C because of this as well. Saying that, though, this gunfight is what it's going to come down to, you feel. Has to be won by Obey. It is going to be won by Obey. Zorkos goes down. That should be the round. That will be the round to Obey Alliance. 1-0. They start off how they left. Very nicely done on map number 2. They found 4 rounds in a row. Can they do the same thing again? Put themselves here in a fantastic position against our damage.
Certainly, yeah. Certainly giving it their best shot, aren't they? We'll give them that. And let's see what the weapon placements are going to be, because this will dictate a lot of how this map is played. Looks like Breaker just hovering over on the depot. Going to drop some more of those utility grenades in there. Expect something similar coming in from Physics as well. It is indeed the flashbang. Yep.
So this is just going to be ultimately for that overlook fight, isn't it?
It is.
Get control of that, get control of B, go from there.
It also means that you may have a spare flashbang if you need it to retake that B fight. So you're not relying on people coming back off spawn with them. You can always back yourself up. They don't necessarily have to get them straight off spawn, but it does look like both teams are going to go at them. So Rita is going to open up with his. Zorkos just trying to find himself a bit of a position under that overload. This time he gets taken out, though. That was great crossfire there by Saki.
Oregon surviving over towards B. The smoke is actually going to come through, and that's going to allow him to get onto B, and that's something different from OB Alliance. And that's what our damage could have done with last round. Maybe a smoke to help them make this push up towards B, but in the end, it's not enough. Our damage will get control of that mid site. Saki now does have to defend this position, but looking over towards C, that push may come through from OB Alliance. It already has done. Sending a couple of members over this time around, and that's what our damage didn't do last time. They got control initially of Overlook, but they didn't make that push through because, well, I mean, for one, they lost the gunfights, which doesn't help. They then maybe just concentrated too much over towards B, lost control of up top, then lost B. Whereas this time round, OB Alliance maybe a little bit more reactive to the situation. Yes, okay, they lose the gunfights at B, but they know they maybe have a few more members over towards this C side. It does look like they are going to eventually lose these gunfights. The Swarm Domination may come through, though, if they're not careful. If you're Zorkos, you have to get out there. You have to jump on. Well, Bay have won the gunfights over towards B, and they've kept things busy at C. Zorkos will get a hold of this one. Breaker will have to back on down. He will keep his team in this game. But OB Alliance pulling the strings at the moment.
There they are. They do get down on Breaker as well, which is going to be big. Gives them just a little bit of a window just to make this play, about 10 seconds or so, just to get themselves in a good situation now. I want to see Strikers really being a bit more aggressive than this. They, our damage, they play well when they play fast, and when they play slow, they're falling behind Obey because they're giving Obey time to recuperate from these bigger fights. They're giving them time to come back off spawn, for example, in Breaker's situation right about now. And now they're going to go for the push 5v5 instead of 5v4. Is it the best idea? I'm not too sure. Let's find out. And Strikers, he's going to go in. Just managed to get that kill on Warrior Guns.
I'm laughing at your poetry, mate. That's what I'm laughing at.
Regular Shakespeare.
That's you, mate. That's you. Anyway, Obey Alliance, sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to back on down and keep a hold of it. They will have the win condition here. The gunfight's going in their favour here once again. Wow, Strikers is just hit by absolutely everything there. In Obey, hold on well. They will win off one. They may well get a hold of C here as well. Nicely done from Obey. Very good defense out of them. The elimination will come through. Our damage, they can't win it. Obey really winding their sails at the moment here, Fruit.
Yeah, they're looking great, to be honest with you. They are indeed winning those fights early on the opposite side, on the E side. And well, yeah, our damage just don't seem to have a response right about now. There's not much to say apart from Obey are playing this very well. And our damage, they ain't responding quick enough, to be honest with you.
And I think the thing is that this isn't out of the, like... I mean, after map number 1, you maybe see the result of that at a 5-2. And you sort of say, oh, well, you know, maps 2 and 3, even if they did get the 3 R damage, you know, a pretty convincing win for them. But because the slaying department for Obey has always been there, it's just been a case of how they use it. They didn't use it well in map number 1, but since then, they've really like created these moments and then been able to take advantage of them, whereas they didn't do that in map number 1.
That's the thing about Vaskar is that kills just don't give you any map priority. Like it doesn't give you anything. It just gives you the kill in that location, right? Whereas kills on here, on training grounds, on Asylum, on maps like Icebound as well, kills give you so much in terms of that map control that it really does translate. But on the other side of the map, let's have a look what's going on. There was a big weapon placed down. It was the drop shot.
It was from our damage as well. Can they get a hold of it though? Cougars is going to find the kill on Demonic, but the thing is, the shock was actually placed for Obey side of things, so you would have thought they maybe would have had priority over towards B. Well, we'll have to back on down. Physics will get a hold of that drop shot. That shock is just a little bit too late. C and B are in control of Obey, but they do have the drop shot to contend with.
Well, they do. Physics is just going to take it up top and see what he does with it. He needs to make a kill with this, to be quite honest with you. He isn't going to be able to connect with TJ. Looking down for Warrior Guns, just get that pistol. There is a down there. Is he going to use the drop shot to pick this up? I think he should do. He might get a double kill here. He's actually misshot it. It's too early. Doesn't quite get enough on that. And he does miss out on a double kill because of it.
I mean, the thing is for them, the little side thing for them is the fact that because of the pressure of the drop shot, it has allowed them to get a hold of B. Obey had to back on down, but Obey don't lose much for it and will be able to battle back.
You're 20 points down now and you've not got a drop shot to help you. You're probably going to lose a member here, or at least lose map control as Warrior Guns is pushing up. And honestly, to say our damage won that opening fight and to say they got out with a drop shot, what have you really got for it? You know, you will start to tick ahead in, you know, just a few seconds, but, you know, Obey, they're not going to give you that much time, to be honest.
It's that second wave of kills, and it's that second wave that's...
If you get that, you're so far ahead.
Oh, yeah.
So
you know, they get a couple of kills with the drop shot there. They can advance up towards the top side of Obey's spawn. It just makes things so much easier to control. But right now, they are still in the lead here. Let's not understate that. But if anything, the map control is with the Obey Alliance. But it does ultimately come down to execution. Cougars is going to find one before he is hunted down by Obey. But here they come once again. Reader drops. And once again, that slaying power of Obey Alliance against our damage this time round is paying off in their favor. Strikers is actually going to find one up top. So an extension over towards C will come through, but Obey Alliance have got time to rotate themselves. The push comes through from Zorkos. It's going to be a bit of a pincer here. The Warrior Gun's actually going to have a hold of a shock as well, which may just delay that push. Zorkos has to back on down. They're going to take the fight over towards Stairs. If they can win this, that puts them in a good position. But are they going to be able to? It's a pretty even trade. Cougars is going to get a hold of the drop shot, but he's going to get caught with it in his hand here as well. Has to manage to get out. Can he find the kill as well? Not quite. Big kill from Warrior Guns. He shuts down the drop shot. He shuts down the push. Obey hanging on here, but hanging on with the lead momentarily for all this information that's going on over towards C and A. They have actually lost B, but Warrior Guns makes the push over towards this home hill. Can he manage to get a hold of it? But can he detract two members away from our damage to then give them priority over towards B? Warrior Guns done fantastically though, and does find a couple of kills. Can he find the third here on the Cougars? It doesn't really seem to matter. He's done the distraction. That might just be enough for Obey. Can he get this final kill sealed in? He's just been such a nuisance over towards A here. Fantastic from Warrior Guns, and he seals the deal for Obey Alliance in round number 3. What a play out of him.
What a play indeed. That was beautiful. Honestly, that's exactly what Strikers should have done on the other side about 20 seconds before. Warrior Guns showing him how it's done. 12 kills to his name as well. 12 eliminations, sorry, to his name. And yeah, honestly, just leading the show. Him and Demonic, they're making their names known. They're putting some good rounds on the board here and coming out some flashy plays as well to boot. So let's see what goes down. The disable actually goes down on that drop shot. That was Obey coming out with that. So our damage, they're going to boot up to that shot grenade, but they're not really going to have much to fight for it. Doesn't really matter this time around. Next round, that'll come back on, and they'll be able to use that shot grenade to try and take the drop shot down. This time it's all about map control.
And in that next round, the drop shot will be available over towards E. So that's where things will really get maybe a little bit more interesting. But this B push is going to come out of our damage. Can they find something here? These last two maps, they found themselves in such a bad spot after a few rounds. Zorkos is going to get a hold of B, but what is the cost? And maybe his life. The shots come through. He will eventually get out. Will not be able to be downed anymore, though. Strikers is going to win an important gunfight onto TJ, and will get in this little power position down low. Saki and Kodo do have an opportunity to push back here. They do have control up to Overlook as well, so they can dictate this map, and it's the same old story once again. Odd damage, yes, they are in control of B, but very little else here for him.
Very little else at all. They've managed to get a kill on Strikers. I think that was the shot grenade coming in actually to flush him out of that corner. Probably one of the only counters actually to getting people out of that corner. So really well played there by Obey to find that. Cougars though has found himself a down on Warrior Guns. Looks like he's going to get revived though, so nothing really gained here for our damage, and they're just getting pushed back and further back. As Obey, they're finding kill after kill after kill. Physics has got to put some damage down right about now. Just managed to get the down on TJ. If they can get the kill on Physics as well, this will be huge. Sorry, if they get the kill on Warrior Guns, this would be huge. It's Physics that is in the fight. They have managed to find that Lancer angle down.
This is better.
Yeah, this is much better from Cog. The problem is, do they then react? Do they then absorb this pressure? The shot grenade does come down and shuts down Demonic's push. Strikers flies in out of nowhere. Breaker may be the next opportunity to get a kill on the board for him. Just get a little bit of damage down. Right about now, Cog will win in 50 seconds. A good down by Strikers as well.
And the thing is, yeah, they just seem to have won the gunfights in rounds previous where they haven't been able to do any of this. They managed to get it done this time round, but is it too little too late? Already 3 rounds down, but the kill's starting to flow now. Starting to get there. Warrior Guns should be dropped. It gets punished for the roll. And this is looking like an on damage round. All the kills coming in their favor. Honestly, would not surprise me if they do make this push over towards 8. Not getting overzealous though, quite happy to get control of the map there through. Maybe a couple of little pushes of overconfidence out of Obey Alliance there.
Overconfidence,
stupidity.
No, I was going to say maybe understanding that they have got these, these respawns that they can use up. They have got this quicker timer now. When our damage were getting slayed out in the earlier rounds, they had basically no time on the clock because they came back up after 12, 14 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, Obey, later in the game, they are down to these 10, 8-second respawns, and they are in a bit more of an advantageous situation when they are losing, these initial fights. It's something that happened in the previous map as well. That Obey, they had a lifeline because they were dying in the later rounds rather than the earlier rounds. It's a question for the game mode. Is that balanced, or is that more, asking teams to show up right at the map start? If you lose early, you put yourself at a disadvantage. It's your own fault, really. But it is an advantage that teams do get if you're winning the earlier rounds compared to the later ones.
We're now heading over towards round number 5. Oh, things have all changed up, of course. We are going to move the middle hill over towards E. The home hills will be put up top. And it's a big fight over here, though. It's a very important one. Cougar's going to find that initial kill. Over towards where that drop shot is. Warrior Guns, though, is going to find him. It looks like this is a priority for Obey. Zorkos is going to find TJ, though, and they have been pinned in here a little bit. The numbers not in their favour. They'll do well to get out of this one through, I think.
Again, the respawns are going to save them here. If our damage don't push in quickly and don't get these kills quickly, they're going to get crossed out once again because they're in the situation. That's the control you want. You want the back control. And that's why Obey are now winning this fight, is because they've got the respawns back off queue. And they come out with the drop shot in the end. They should be able to get a couple more kills here. Reader, he just trapped in. Zorkos, he's going to go down as well.
Absolute carnage.
Yeah, there's only Cougars alive. And that's all about playing those respawns properly. Obey, they did it perfectly.
And, we talk about those initial couple of kills that were won by our damage there. They've got to maybe try and make something of that. TJ trying to get something done at the Strikers here. Was going for that domination coming through. Nice drop shot coming in from Warrior, though. Not a lot for it, but it will just slow down the retake of B from our damage, if anything. It's going to be hard for them to make this push now, 4v5 momentarily. But I think, you said it very, very right. Our damage, they got a couple of kills there. They should have maybe tried to chase those 2 down just to make sure they got control. And then the respawns coming in from Obey have to run into fire.
Yeah, you have to get those kills because that's the map control you want.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, it looks like they're in a bit of a pincer situation. Actually, they're in the perfect situation for when their teammates come back. And yeah, it bites our damage. It really does.
As it goes, though, they have actually managed to push this home hill. TJ is somebody who really does need to stay alive. Somehow stays alive. 3 members of our damage actually shooting him with the Lancers there, and he manages to get away. Don't think he's long for this world, to be honest with you. Yeah, TJ is going to get dropped, although it does actually get picked up by his teammates here. Seems as if OB are heading for the hills, just trying to run away at this point. They have managed to get a hold of D because of this, though. And honestly, how the hell is TJ staying alive? So if they get kills out of this, that would be absolutely ridiculous. They are eventually going to get dropped, but the damage is already done. They did lose D, but they have been able to get a hold of E for all their troubles. OB only have the lead for a couple of more seconds. That win condition is with Cog now. Our damage looking to get within 1 round. Big gunfight going to go on here, though. If Saki can win this one, it would be massive, but the gunfights are going to go over towards our damage. That is the drop shot up in a few. The domination may come through anyway. OB happy to concede this one. 3-2 now. Much better from our damage. Yes, okay, they maybe lose a couple of fights over towards B. Maybe they don't put the pressure in where we think they should, but then they rotate over towards these home hills and out-rotate OB Alliance maybe for the first time since map number 1, in all honesty. 3-2 now. Our damage still in this game.
That they did. I mean, Obey, they were clinging on with those 2 members just fighting out around the shot grenade, but yeah, they were wasting a lot of time. While they did that, they did actually catch up in points. It was just a case of that in the end, our damage did win that gunfight. They did take it out. Utility going down, the first one we've seen actually so far. And it's going to be another thing that they've got to consider going into this drop shot fight. You see the shot grenade is going to be locked out there on the Obey Alliance side, but they are going to have that extra utility going into the fight. So let's see how this plays out. Zorkos picks up that shot grenade, and he's going to be the one opening up as he goes in to this drop shot fight.
Big round this. He's going to be able to get it done. Our damage kind of tied up, or will it go down 4-2, and will it put Obey Alliance on map point? And you know what? Our damage had that shot grenade, and they have found absolutely nothing for that advantage. The gunfights well and truly over towards OB Alliance. There's some domination coming in here very, very quickly. Can Kugas do anything? He is actually going to drop 2, and he has been the savior here for our damage in round number 6. He's going to find a couple of kills. Well done from Kugas. He has stopped the domination coming through. And maybe enough time for his teammates to get back up, at least to get over towards F. He will go down, but his work's already done. He does keep our damage in this one. But the damage may be done, to be honest with you. Saki gets a kill on the physics, and this push is going to be very, very difficult for our damage to make. Obey Alliance with the initial win here, and will have the lead.
The one thing they are going to be at an advantage at here is that Saki has used both of those drop shots. So Kuga's forced one out, and he's just used another there on the first push. So Kuga's going to be the first one in again. Does manage to get that kill on Breaker. Kuga's will fall as well, though, as Warriors trades him out. Warriors should be this next victim now, but it looks like Strikers, he's pushed too far. He's going to get taken out, and now Warriors replies. This looks like Obey just cleaning up once again. Luckily, these respawns so far down again that it's going to be difficult for Obey to make this push over to the F hill.
It just seems as if it just seems as if our damage aren't as reactive to having that number advantage. You need to be so quick in these latter rounds. You need to go when you have that advantage.
It almost favors not trying to make a decision, right? It's at this point where your raw skill has to just take over, and your raw understanding of the game just has to take over, and right now, Obey, they're looking better at it, to be honest with you.
This is a big round, though, as said. We're either going to tie things up here, or Obey are going to be 4-2 up 1 round away. It's looking like the likely scenario here. 220 to 100 is going to be the score. 13 seconds or so for Obey to win it. Our damage not in any position to do anything here. Zorkos is going to try and find a couple of kills. We can see they're not respawning. No, that is the round. That is Obey Alliance 1 away from going 2-1 in this series and taking it. 4-2 now. Our damage need 3 in a row.
See what they place down in terms of weapons. I kind of feel like if you're in our damage's seat, you have to try
something different.
Yeah, you have to move it away from this E hill. It's not worked for you. You tried the exact same fight on Asylum. You dropped the drop shot down, you butted heads at it and you lost it, and now you're doing the exact same again here on training grounds. And it looks like they're just going to try and fight for it once again. And, how many times do you do the same thing before it becomes insanity?
Okay.
You are managing to get the upgrade on Ember.
It's something different.
It's different. Is it going to make a massive difference? I'm not too sure. The shot grenade was very poorly placed, but the bigger thing in that fight was that they allowed a flank to come around behind them completely unnoticed, and that's the thing that our damage, I don't believe they would normally have done. Let's have a look on Strikers on this Ember, because if anyone pops the head off for too long, they will lose it. But he's down to 1 shot already, and honestly, they've not really got anything for it. They're down map control. They're going to start to move up now with this M-bar.
Don't know
Sure
if you
he
can hit that.
Yeah, well, not while he's on this back cover. If he was further down on that.
It's the threat of it, though, as well, though. I think if you're Obey, you're going to be very aware that Strikers is here with that, but he is going to take a couple of bullets. You can see the top of the butt of the gun of Demonic.
Imagine if you could shoot the gun off his back.
That would be very interactive, it has to be said. But here we go. Cougars is going to find that first kill from our damage.
Still threatening with this.
I mean, you say, okay, they're going to win the gunfight, so I will forgive them for this one. And maybe the pressure of having to go up against that M-bar is maybe something. But, you know, in the end, they do win the gunfights, and they will get control of E and will get the drop shot, but I would have still liked to see that M-bar used a little bit better.
Yeah, you got to hit maybe a shot or two, right? You're kind of relying on your shotguns here. Physics just missed that first drop shot as well, so pretty much 0 out of 4 for power weapons so far.
Nope, doesn't miss that.
No, he doesn't, but he'd been hard pressed to miss it. It was basically, yeah, head to head. Shot grenade coming out from Obey just to delay things here from Strike. Strike is just running into that. I'm not entirely sure why that was done. Maybe he thought he could get around the corner, but honestly, that may have just cost his team this ring and maybe the round actually. See how it unfolds.
Maybe the round and maybe the map. Zorkos needs to get something done here very, very rare. The Swarm Domination is going to come through in a second. They need to make the push. They are going to make the push. Warrior Gun's in there, though. He is going to get dropped eventually. So it looks like our damage will hold on. They do have the lead here as well. They will get a hold of D. They may get a hold of E here as long as they can get rid of Demonic.
Yep.
He will still just being a nuisance. He will get dropped, and that should be map control for our damage now. This is to make it 4-3. A big, big round for them. They still need, if they take this one, another 2 to win this map and win the series. It's doable for them. I think, you know, we're talking negatively of our damage just because Obey have done everything right so far. And our damage have sort of clawed their way back into it.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Obey definitely seemingly the favourite, so 4-2 up.
But you're not seeing anything from our damage in terms of this, you know, this extension over towards the F hill. The home hill players, they're really not going at it. Strikers is sitting very, very still over here. The M-bar has just come up, so I am tempted to just jump on board with Cougars and see what he's up to here. So it looks like he's going to go and defend this D hill.
They can win off one. Oh, Cougars, good shots onto TJ. Going to get a good shot onto Demonic as well. And this transfer over to the home hill is what will do it for our damage in this round. I think the thing is, it was coming from both ends, wasn't it? If they lose the gunfight over towards the home, they may have lost the one over towards E as well. 4-3 now. Good shots from Cougars. A little bit more like it. We question the M-bar placement. In the end, it does come up trump in that round. 4-3 now to Obey.
Quick scoreboard recap. Reader, he needs to do more, to be quite honest with you. 16-12, 16 eliminations to 12 is not a good score. And 1,500 points as well. Really needs to step it up a little bit. He was slacking a bit on Asylum. He was down at the bottom on Vaskar, and now Training Grounds has not been his grounds either. You know, he's one of those players that he's very, very good usually, but just not having a fantastic time of it this time around. See what weapons go down. We have the M-bar still on that side. 4 shots in the drop shot. Utility coming out on the side of Obey now.
So Boltok going to be available for somebody on the side of Obey who have slowed down. It has to be said, the slaying battle has not necessarily been over towards our damage, but they've definitely been there a lot more than they were in the first few rounds. Obey, though, need to find that groove once again if they want to take this one. They're still 1 round away. Well, 2 we go to round number 9.
Striker's missed his first shot with that M-bar. Does hit his second on Demonic. Where's the push coming in? There's nothing, because that shot grenade is, you know, it is just holding the entire side of our damage back. There's nothing they can do about this. Nothing at all.
Overlook control does belong to Obey, and if you're going to push that far, Warrior Guns, you are going to get taken down by Strikers. A nice easy shot. He was already damaged. That M-bar will always take you down. Saki now going to take plenty of bullets as well. Here comes the push here from our damage. Demonic is going to win the gunfights over towards the other side. Those Zorkos and Physics drop. TJ finds Strikers as well, but here comes Reader. We said he's had a poor game, but can he turn it round now? Saki is going to take the bullets, and he will find this kill. Who has priority? Who has control over towards it? It's actually Obey in the end. They will just about win these gunfights, and they will force them away. They will find the drop shot too, and they have total control of what they want. F still in the hands of our damage yet, but Obey Alliance are sitting pretty.
The shot grenade, once again, just being a killer, really, for our damage. It was very, very well placed. It stopped any push whatsoever. And it meant that the drop shot, the M-bar shots that did come in weren't really used to much effect. And now another great shot grenade has just come in. And this is just defending this D-hill entirely for our damage. And for our damage, whilst that shock's coming in, I'd be questioning, do something, right? You've got a little bit of downtime. Can you move over to the left and get a shot? Can you move into spawn and get a shot? Just to make Obey think a little bit, because their play has been made, the shot got put down, and our damage, they're just happy to sit it out, and they're losing time, they're losing points, and I think perhaps they're waiting for this M-bar to come back up, but they got 40 seconds on that, and Swarm are winning 45, so they've got to do something beforehand. They really do. It looks like the play is going to be over on this D-hill. First drop shot comes in, does miss. Looks like Reed is going to pick up a kill on Saki, and now the D-hill should go in the favor of our damage. Is it going to be enough? It is enough, just.
That was a couple of drop shots came through, actually. It looked by the look of things, there was 2. 4 bullets now available in that drop shot, which is why it felt like a massive win for Obey.
The question is, you know, if you're Obey and you see your home hill getting pushed by 3, are you coming over and trying to take the drop shot, the M-bar away from our damage? Like, is that a possible play that you may do?
Possibly.
You've still got the drop shot to help defend any push coming towards the E-hill, and then you can fight it out with 2 power weapons. Let's see what happens.
Breaker's still got the drop shot there as well, actually. Can we go over towards him? Just keep an eye on what he's going to do, because he still has a shot available here. And that could be massive as the push does come through from our damage. Swarm now do decap D. It looks like they will get it. Here comes the push in from our damage. Are they aware that Breaker has this? Lands it down, finds his teammate as well as Physics, though. The kill's coming in for Cougars over towards the site, and actually, this is looking like a domination may come through for our damage. It feels that way. We're going to round number 9 and map number 3. Our damage claw their way here somehow. Obey Alliance, 3 rounds to the good. Now find themselves in a round number 9. Questions will be asked here.
Questions will be asked indeed, especially by that drop shot placement. His team, they had to have known that was the play, right? He was sat there, he was defending it. There is no way that Breaker did not call out that he was, you know, defending that hill with the drop shot. Not a chance on earth. So
I think for me, it comes down to maybe using it a little bit better when you were trying to defend D, because that seems to be the idea from Obey. Is they were quite happy to sit at Overlook. They've got 3 or 4 shots left in this drop shot, but nothing really found from it, and that's ultimately where they fall.
So we've had utility grenades come down on the side of our damage and flashbangs on the side of Obey, but quite honestly, those flashbangs probably not going to be much at all. Striker's in this opening fight. Let's see where he goes with this opening shot, because every time we've jumped on him, he's used one at a time, and there he goes. There's the headshot. That's what we've been looking for so many rounds. Is he going to get a second? He does connect indeed. Is he going to be able to get the kill? There wasn't enough damage down, and Warrior Guns, he's up top. He's making a nuisance of himself. Now he's going to push down. Is the second one going to come out? Yes, it is. Strikers with the M-bar finally making his name known, finally putting some shots down with this weapon, and finally getting some kills. Obey, now they've got to take tail to the wind as they are running fast and far away from this E-hill. Cougars is going to pick up this drop shot, and now our damage, they're in the position to take this. They're looking strong here, and they've clawed their way back to this round 9, and they've got themselves in the position that they need to be in.
The M-bar placement worth in this situation for our damage. Strikers eventually, I mean, we'll question some of these players throughout this game. It has to be said, there's been a couple of maybe silly pushes here and there, but this time round, he gets it done where he needs to. And the drop shot is now available for Cougars up top, and this is just going to be clean and house. There's 2. Demonic and Breaker going down. Is he going to find the 3rd as well? Not quite sure why he's wasted that one. Maybe getting a little bit excited that his team are coming back in this game. 70 seconds for a win condition here. Warrior Guns are going to be dropped, but those respawns are so fast, and they are going to be coming back up. Just having a look over towards the respawns. There's a couple of players playing with 1 life, mostly on our damage, so they've got to be careful. One good break for Obey Alliance. They are well back into this game.
They are. The question is can these drop shots be used again like that just to shut down the pushers? If they can do this twice more, this should be our damages. Problem is Cougars, he can't waste that second shot like he did just then. He really does need to make sure every single shot counts. And this could be another one. That's another kill on TJ. Saki's going to fall up top. Can he get the kill on Warrior Guns? He should be able to right about now. He's got the damage down. Should be able to get the shotgun fights, but he can't choke this.
Up top
he
as
cannot
well.
choke this. He's managed to get the kill on Demonic. He's behind up here as well. Another member just flipping around Cougars, he is. Fantastic play by him.
Oh, damage. You never make it easy for yourselves, do you? Obey Alliance were in the lead for literally every single point of these last 2 maps, and they have crumbled under the pressure. Oh, damage. We'll get this one done, barring a miracle out of Obey. Demonic makes the push, but once again, 4 shots in the drop shot are making things very difficult for them to move anywhere. Our damage just pinned them in. Obey Alliance can't quite get it done. Our damage are going to clean this one up in the end. 250 to 154, 5-4. Map number 3, round 9 win. Our damage send it the distance, but they get it done. They solidify their spot in position number 2. Obey Alliance drop once again. And that is unfortunate for them. They looked so good throughout the majority of those last 2 maps.
They really did. They really did. They had our damage's number throughout that. They honestly did. And in the end, our damage, they just clutch up. That's all it is. They had the power weapons down. They used them very, very well in the end. And they come out and they take that round 9.
Yeah. When it comes to the point of where the drop shot's there and there's 4 shots in it.
Yeah.
You are talking about you win that initial, the round is nearly in the bag at that point. I think, you look towards that round where Obey had a hold of the drop shot, they had a hold of Outlook. Yeah. They sent a couple over towards their home hill to defend it, and they don't hit, and that's what maybe makes the difference. If they hit those, they keep a hold of D, they maybe win it 5-3 in the end. But this is how we found ourselves all the way to a map number 3. 5-2 in our damage, and Vasgar, a very convincing win from them. Asylum, very comfortable for Obey in the end. Found 4 in a row before eventually grinding it out 5-3. Training Grounds went all the way to the wire. 5-4 to our damage in the end. After trailing the whole game, eventually, when it matters, turning up and winning the map. And that is one of the big reasons they are second in this EU Pro League. Will remain second as we go over towards San Diego as well. Obey now in a tough spot.
Yeah.
I think that definitely confirms them as I'm not 1,000,000% sure. I think they were 1 point behind, so they will get a point for winning the map. So we'll work it out at the end. That's not my job. But realistically, they're not in a good spot. They did really want to win that game.
Yeah, they needed to win that game realistically, and they are going to be kicking themselves.
Yes.
They are going to go over to San Diego. They are going to have a chance to claw some points there. They have to finish above Rated R. We're assuming Rated R maybe get a map here. Maybe don't, but we're assuming EU's finalists are going to win. Going into it, that placement in San Diego is going to mean huge things for the qualification going into quarter 2. For Rated R, still all to play for. They might feel like they're secure, might feel like they're in a good spot, but honestly, they're not right about now. And that map from Obey could have actually done a lot for them.
It could have. We'll find out at the end. As said, we're not going to try and work it out. That's for the boys back in the scene to try and figure this out. Who is actually going to finish last? What we do know, it's either going to be Obey Alliance or it's going to be Rated R. Our damage do get the win in week number 6. We're going to see EU's finest see if they can defend their crown once again against Rated R. Get some revenge from week number 1 where they got trounced. In all honesty, let's see that game between those two right after this quick break.
Listen to the wind blow, down comes the night. Break the silence, damn the dark, damn the light. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can stay.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Gears EU Pro League for the very final game of split number 1. My name is Tun, and I am here with Fru. And it's a game that we're sort of leaning towards EU's finest, it has to be said, but if we are to really go back to game number 1 and look at our predictions for that one, I was nearly right. I was very nearly right. Neither one of them were technically right.
Yep,
because you said they would do it in 2. I said, well, Obey will do it in 3. Yeah, okay. So we're both rubbish.
You were 1 round off.
I was 1 round off.
2, so
yeah,
I'll
okay,
give it to
that's
you.
fair. Yeah, we'll give it to me. But let's have a look at how the standings currently are. Now, we've had a little bit of information over the break, and I think if we worked it out correctly, if Rated R win a map, then they will go 3rd. But as it currently stands, if they do lose 2-0, they will actually, because of their head-to-head against OB Alliance, end up 4th going into San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that huge play from TJ, if you remember it on Icebound, keeping Obey in it, and
I remember it well.
Yeah, he could have kept his team actually in that 3rd place spot because of that single play. So yeah, it's huge for Obey, that map against our damage, and well, now Rated R, they really are up against the ropes. They have the history of beating EU's finest. It's the one thing that they can put in their back pocket and really hope that that will come true again for them.
Yeah.
But it's a huge task, and EU's finest have just looked stronger and stronger the past 5 weeks, really.
And I think if you look at Rated R, if they hadn't beat EU's finest in that first week, they'd be in a really bad spot.
Where
right
are they now? Yeah,
they'd be in a really, really bad spot. I think they were the team that a lot of people had a lot of questions about. Like there was a lot of uncertainty around Rated R. Nobody really knew how good they were going to be. They were either going to be amazing or they were maybe going to be the worst team in the league. That was the sort of the question, and that sort of has ran true a little bit. But let's have a look how they're going to try and beat the EU's finest for the second time in the picks and bans. Rated R, Rated Vascar, no surprises there. They've not really had too much luck on that one. District then going away from EU's finest. I think a lot of people going into San Diego will be noticing that District plan coming out of EU's finest every single time. EU's finest, after that first time they played Obey on Bunker, pretty much picked it every single time.
Yeah.
Asylum then coming in from Rated R, which I think that plays into EU's finest hands. I think you're going to maybe throw something different at them. Icebound was available. Rated R didn't pick it because that got banned out by EU's finest second time round after Training Grounds went from Rated R. So we end up on Exhibit. This is just played into EU's finest hand. I don't know how Rated R have not picked Icebound there against Rated R after EU's finest. Last time they played them, they beat them on that map, so it would make sense to maybe do it again, but here we are. I mean, Rated R beat them on Training Grounds and Icebound. They didn't pick Icebound when they could have. They banned Training Grounds. So, I mean, I know that, look, a lot of things change in 6 weeks, don't get me wrong, but for me, this makes no sense.
No.
This makes no sense.
I totally agree. 100% would have expected Icebound to be in there. 100%. I don't know why
if
that
it's
isn't.
available, or at least see it. If it was banned by EU's finest, then well, okay,
exactly.
you're right. Well, yeah, but
exactly. I honestly don't know. The one thing I can only think of is that Rated R are trying to play some kind of mind games with EU's finest, and are trying to get them off their guard a little bit. We saw EU's finest do it to Obey, where they just baited in that bunker pick.
Yep.
Perhaps Rated R are thinking maybe EU's finest are trying to bait
us in Icebound.
Yeah, but quite honestly,
you take what you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, now you're playing Bunker and Asylum.
Yeah.
Not good. For me, if you are a Rated R fan, I think you look at this one now and you sort of say, well, we're fighting like uphill at this point.
Yep.
EU's finest on these 2 maps. I don't want to recall the stats like specifically, but let's hazard a guess that it's pretty good. In my head, I'm sort of looking towards these first 2 maps and sort of saying to myself, right, those are definitely EU's finest sort of maps. Bunker, we've seen them time and time again look very, very solid. Grinding out a couple of wins, specifically against odd damage. I think 7-6 last time they did play on this one. But when it comes then to Asylum, they're very, very good at Asylum. I don't think they've lost it yet, top of my head.
Did they lose it?
Possibly. They might have lost it once, but yeah, I think it was like a 7-6 or something like that.
They beat Obey on it 7-6.
Yes, that was it. Yeah. So I mean, look, these are not fantastic picks from Rated R that we feel anyway. They might prove us wrong. Let's have a look at how these maps do lay out. Bunker is going to come up first, then Asylum, of course. If we need it, we will see Exhibit. I don't think we will, in all honesty. Rated R sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard, EU's finest at the very, very top. What a very, very different situation to be in, considering the last time these two met each other in week number 1, Rated R came flying out of the gates against the EU's finest,
Yeah.
beating them 2-0 in convincing fashion in a very, very quick game. This time round, I feel as if it could be very similar, but maybe the opposite
way around. Yeah. I kind of agree with you there. I think EU's finest have just gone from strength to strength, and they will not want to get embarrassed twice by the same team. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
They will not want to lose going into the last pro circuit week before the first major. They'll be really looking to they should be at the top of their game right about now, right?
Yeah.
They're literally 1 week before they go to play and make their name known on a global stage once again. And
I mean, maybe
this
they're
is the time
looking
to be
at maybe
perfection, right?
they're looking to expand their map pool. Get some good practice in against one of the best teams in the world. That could be it. We're heading over to Bunker, 100% win rate for EU's finest. 3 times, every single time they have won this one. Round win percentage of 68% as well. It's nothing to turn your nose up at. But anyway, we will get into this game. EU's finest on the Swarm side of things. Rated R on the COG. Can Rated R upset the odds once again? We just feel as if that might be a little bit difficult for them.
It may be, but let's not count them out just yet. Let's
Not
give
yet.
them the benefit of the doubt that they beat them once. They're coming in on the head-to-head as currently the victors. Yes, they are down at the bottom. Yes, he is finest at the top, and it is an uphill battle. But Sergio, he's worked some magic before. I know he's one of your favourite players.
Love me some Sergio.
Yeah, I got some faith in him, at least to give it a good shot. So let's see how they do.
And I think if you EU's finest after losing this one, I think that's their only series loss over the whole time, I think, if I remember correctly. So I think losing your only game, you probably want to try and revenge that as quickly as you can. But this time around, they have actually lost that initial gunfight over towards B. They have lost C and B now. They may well lose A as well. Craze is going to have to make the push in here fairly quickly. The domination is just about denied from the other side of things. EU's finest will hold on here with an A capture. Hydron is going to find the kill on Dov, and if you're Rated R, you may be back on down, or maybe not. It's Rated R, let's be honest. They will just continue to get aggressive.
They've got one gear, it is forward, and it's just fast, so...
Sergio and Dragons trying to get something done. And Dragons, after last week, was the head of the eliminations across the board.
Yeah, overtaking quite a few people, actually. He's leapfrogged
Had a good
his
week.
way up. Saki is still top average across the board
Yep.
by a couple of points, but it's around 36 eliminations, I think, average at the moment for Saki. Next is like 35.6, so it's still pretty close, and this map could change it. EU's finest, though, still sitting top of that KDA average, KDA totals. Like,
No
they're
surprise.
just running away with it. But Dragons, there he goes, up to 3 already.
Well, Crazed has been taken down for maybe the 5th time in the Pro League there. Dragons finds him over the top of the wall. But I actually really like this from Rated R. I like the aggression that they come through, but the problem is if you do let somebody slip the net, then you're in a bad spot. Phelps does get himself out A and B now in EU's finest hands. 1 win condition on the board.
You can only keep going forward if everyone is in front of you, right? And if
It's good, I like that.
if there's someone behind you, and you're losing B Hill, you're in a pretty bit of a bad spot. And to be honest, they got a long way ahead in terms of points. EU's finest trying to claw their way back now, but this is the situation where EU's finest, they won't take all the time in the world to close this out. They will get the kills. They will force the mistakes, and they will come back and win. You see Dragons now; he's going to get taken out. Toast is going to come in behind. There's 2 members from EU's finest defending the route to B as well. So.
Oh my god, the movement from Jack is fantastic. Isn't quite able to find the kill. Rated R maybe just prolong the inevitable here. And they do fall this time round. It was a good start by them, but water is wet. EU's finest win the first round.
Yep. Yeah. Well, to be honest, Rated R should have got out of that. They should have won it. They took too long to kill
too much
Crazed.
pressure.
They took too long to kill Crazed. He managed to force them to pull out of the 2v1 on the home hill. And then Rated R, they lost that 1v. So in the end, and Crazy also got out. It was a big play by Crazy. It wasn't anything that was really flashy at the time, but looking back, it actually was huge that he got himself out and kept his life there, and just delayed for his team. Rated R, that might be a round that does maybe come back to bite them, because they had a lot of kills down. They had a lot of pressure on the board. They just didn't know how to close it out, and they just didn't know how to finish the round. And that's what EU's finest are so good at.
I think it's like the reactiveness, isn't it? It's like, as you said, Rated R have 1 gear and it is forward all the time, very, very quickly. And in the situation where they're pushing over towards it, you maybe just like to see like the peace of mind to be able to just maybe turn around and say, okay, we've got control, we're good. Just pin them in, but from further back, because if we lose these gunfights here, the respawns are so long, is the fact that we're going to lose so much map control. Keep that map control so you can rotate to somewhere if you need to. The initials this time go to EU's finest, and they do what Rated R did, but can they execute better this time round? Dragons and Leonard are both down. Jack is going to find Dov as well. Jack's had a really good start to things here, picking up quite a few kills. 4-2 out of Craze though. Poor by his standards, has to be said, but he will take it. Just chipping in for his team so far. EU's finest in a good spot here, letting the rest of Rated R make the push out. Here comes the flash. This might help them break. It might not. Also, Hydron finds 2. And that could be the nail on the coffin for this round. Another one over towards EU's finest if they can get these few kills. Here comes the flash. Craze finds the push. And they're just getting forced back constantly. EU's finest, when they find that little bit of pressure, they just keep pushing and they keep pushing. 1 minute and 8 seconds is all it took. 2-0.
And again, they're just clinical with making the picks. They're always at that player advantage, right? They've always got a numbers advantage. And they just do it so well. They hardly ever lose their own players in those those advantageous situations. So you see there where Crazed using the flash perfectly, waiting until exactly the right time. They didn't lose anyone on the push, and that's what they do so well. Is they keep each other alive, they keep each other healthy, they look out for each other, they put shots in for each other, and in the end, it makes it a lot easier for Hydron to get those double kills when he's got all his teammates shooting for him. It's not just on the other side, Sergio just bouncing around.
Drop shot comes in from Rated R. And that's actually a shock on the side of EU's finest, so that will maybe help them towards that fight, or at least get bunker control. But Rated R choosing to throw a cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. That drop shot comes through.
I think this is honestly a wise decision from Rated R. They weren't doing too well at top bunker. They did win this fight down at artillery last time around. The question is are they going to have enough people? Are they going to have enough teamwork really to beat EU's finest in this fight? Let's find out. Stargans is going to jump up.
Oh,
he's going to get a shot onto Crimson.
How did he survive that?
Yeah, he survived it because Dov was holding his hand basically and saved his life.
Hydron.
Here we go again. Hydron.
Oh god,
just
please
get one.
no. I was going to say Dov eventually does get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like when you're watching any player on EU's finest, even if they're in like a 1v2 situation, you're just like, well, they're probably going to win this at any moment.
The scary thing is there was a game last 2 weeks ago where NRG Explosive was in the exact situation there, and he managed to knife 2 members down. Didn't even shoot, just knifed them all to death, and he was just dancing, and it looked exactly like the same as what I was seeing from Hydron just there. Hydron did get taken out in the end though, but yeah, it was just shades of that NRG game.
Dov though in a good position to try and defend here as the shots coming through, and that's the thing for EU's finest. Yes, okay, they might not have as many resources down over towards B, but the fire coming in from up top is raining down on them. Dov and Toast both getting dropped, both getting up. Look at the kill feed. Good lord, EU's finest dropping bodies, but are they actually finding the kills here? They're putting them very, very weak, but look at Dov going forward, doing very, very well to find one. Is he going to find the second as well? Bouncing around, is eventually going to get dropped. It is eventually going to be EU's finest getting control. The Lancer fire just could not get away from it, Rated R at all. And they will be pinned back towards C. Yes, it is a Rated R lead, but it's a swarm win condition. EU's finest in control.
They are. Dov looked pretty good there, but
he was doing well to stay alive, let's be honest.
He made it out and then bounced back towards 3 members of EU's finest. For me, just bounce away, try and get to that A-hill, just try and be a nuisance behind them. Save your life a little bit, and maybe just try and force EU's finest into actually doing something rather than just sitting there and having to Lancer on the spot. That said, though, the point's still very, very even. EU's finest with that hill advantage, but right about now, 170 points apiece. So wouldn't count Rated R out just yet, but it's going to be this offense that will make or break it for them, really.
Shot grenade available for Phelpsy as well, so that will help keep a hold of B if he can get this over here pretty quickly. It is actually going to be decapped. Are they going to be able to cap this? Phelpsy doesn't want to use that shot grenade over towards
He does actually go down.
Yeah,
Crimson's
I know, he's going to go down as well. Sergio is going to get a hold of that drop shot. Phelpsy now dead. So, good stuff by Rated R. It was looking like the tools were there for EU's finest. Not quite sure if that tool was used very well by Sergio. In the end, does get the kill onto Jack. They will have this drop shot available once again. That shot grenade coming through, though. It's not going to do anything for EU's Finest. And this could be a round over towards Rated R. The push will have to come through very, very quickly. Where's everybody else from EU's Finest? Nowhere to be seen. This is the first round on the board for Rated R. Nicely done. Grounded out. 3 minutes and 17 seconds is what it took, but they will get themselves on the board.
Yeah, it definitely was a grind, but you're right. They do get that round on the board. The drop shot round coming in does actually work out for them in the end. They got a lot of kills from it. And it's kind of like looking like how our damage were playing the game on Bunker. Look at the kills and elimination difference here. 19 for Hydran already. Sergio, he's leading the way. Well, 8 actually on Dov is leading the way for Rated R. But they do have that round on the board, and that's what it's about. It's not about the kills, it's about the rounds on the board. Let's see what Hydran goes for. He's going to upgrade to the M bar straight away. This is going to be an interesting one to watch. We're
long range
4
map.
rounds in.
You know, it makes sense. Let's see. How well is it used by EU's Finest? You can only imagine very. It is a big push over towards B. It is going to be crazed with the M bar in hand over towards the home hill of C. We'll get a hold of that, and you'd imagine he's going to push up top bunker. And that crossfire they had with the Lancer just becomes a little bit more dangerous. Choosing to charge it up there, Crazed. Let's see what he can get done with it. We've seen strikers really go off at the end of the game between R Damage and Obey. He's just going to try and get away from that flash. In the end, does push himself towards it. Doesn't really have any support to make this push up top, so we'll have to back on down. Oh, Sergio's going to get caught with his pants down, and Crazed is going to uncharacteristically miss a shot. Is eventually going to clean it up, though. It took 3 to find Sergio. He's going to make the push over towards the drop shot here, and over towards B. Dragons is in between Crazed and 3 other members of EU's Finest. He's just going to connect the drop shot with his head, and we'll just completely give control of B over towards EU's Finest. Maybe a little bit over the top to potentially use the drop shot there, but just Crazed things.
Any other team, you'd have been saying, oh, that was a mistake.
I know,
I can't believe you've done that.
The thing is, though, is that even though they do it, and you're like, well, you didn't really need to use that. You sort of just don't question it because they're that good.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Maybe that's biased to me, and maybe not
it
as...
is, but...
I mean, the thing is, he's going to land that, and he's going to keep them off it. I think it's because that we know that he uses the rest of them so efficiently, but let's say that. It would be nice if he had another one here.
It would, right? I mean, you'd be able to kill Dov, you'd be able to save the ring, reduce a lot of
pressure on your teammates. Do you not just think that's a EU's Finest attitude, though? They're just like, well, it doesn't really matter.
I think that's the thing. That is why, you know, you say it's biased. It's not really. It's just breaking down how the teams match up, and, you know, with base weapons, EU's Finest
plus,
win.
I don't really want to question Crazed on anything he does in Gears of War.
Yeah, there is that, but I think you do have that understanding at the back of your head that they are generally better on basics. So if they waste a power weapon, they go back to even and they're still better, right? Like that's kind of how it does summarize.
Well, they haven't actually managed to get a hold of B here. They do slightly just about have the tick. Dov is going to go down to Craze though this time round. He's going to continue pushing. Currently 16-2.
They're doing well here at Rated R.
Yeah, no, they're keeping them off it. They've kept the fight fairly even. Crazed is going to have to back down.
And now that drop shot would have come in use.
Go on, you can tweet him afterwards and tell him he shouldn't have used that first one.
This is it. If he watches it back, maybe he'll take note.
Maybe he'll take note. Maybe he'll just tweet you and go, tweet me as well. Shut up.
Maybe. Just go for highlight reel plays first.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Jack is going to get a hold of the M bar here for EU's Finest, who are in danger of losing this round, though.
Yeah, you got to look at the points, right? 210, 186.
In a bad spot. Dragons also has the drop shot. He's going to get dropped. Is he going to get taken down, though? No, he isn't. He is back up and back to full health. Leonard is now going to make the push on to Crazed. This should be an Rated R win, barring an absolute miracle out of EU's Finest. Crazed should be dead as well.
I like that by Leonard. Just using the old ladders to get a bit of a sneaky vantage point. 2-2 though. Yeah, Rated R. Looking reasonable. I'm not going to go too far out, but
yeah,
quite honestly,
you know what? Like, they just seem to be coming back into the kills a little bit. You know, it was maybe a bit of shock and awe at the beginning. EU's Finest getting those first 2 rounds relatively quickly in relatively simple fashion. But this time round, they're making a game of it. 2-2 now. EU's Finest. I think the thing is like so often whenever you watch EU's Finest, you're just like you're waiting for the gear to be found. You're sort of just like, well, they'll turn it on soon and probably win. Is that moment now? Long old look at the scoreboard there, Fru. Thank you very much.
No, I was looking. I was having a drink, but I was also looking.
I like it.
I was just looking at toast. Just thinking.
Yeah.
5 to 8 is not fantastic right
It's
about
not
now.
great.
He's also right at the bottom of the leaderboard in terms of pretty much everything at the moment. The player leaderboard, the overall one.
Yeah, so maybe not having the best game so far if you're
Not the
toast.
best pro league, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. They are bottom. It is a team game, so to speak, but stats don't lie on occasion. Toast is going to find a kill at the Crimsons over towards format B. It's actually not going to matter. The elimination may have come through there, but EU's Finest will continue to keep this pressure on. Here comes the drop shot as well. This should now be another round for EU's Finest, and just like that, honestly, it doesn't even feel like a lot even happened in that round. They just found the kills and they just took up so much map control instantly. That now, Rated R, they're pushing into gunfire straight away. It's just a simple round for EU's Finest. They get control of up top, they get control of down low, they get the drop shot. They have everything in their arsenal to win the round, and Rated R sort of just curl up into a ball and say, please stop beating me.
That's it. I mean, that's EU's finest game, though. They're very good at pushing players into their teammates, into their into fire, making the opposition move around the map in a way that is advantageous to EU's finest. And well, M-Bar's going to come down, so we're going to see M-Bars against each other right about now. But yeah, that is what they do well. They do it against every team they come up against. It's not just a European thing.
Yeah.
They do it on the global scene as well. Where they do start to fall down is when they do get those stronger teams that they come up against and who have very good setups, who are not prone to making mistakes. Like some of the lower ranked teams are, both here, both in America, both in Latin America. That's the thing they've got to sort out this year is what I feel is that top level play. But the Pro League is always going to help that, so that's good to see. And they do look good, to be honest. To be honest, it's not like they're looking bad at all. It's just can they really make it to that top level?
Can they do this on the top level? That is the question.
Yep.
I think one good thing, and if we're just to discuss maybe outside of this game a little bit, is that NRG and Reciprocity. Yes, okay, you would say NRG. It's close between them as well, and there's a couple other teams over in America that have been causing problems. So across the board, it's not necessarily so one-sided in America at this point. That there's no absolute front runner, I would say, for San Diego. I mean, there is one there, but it's not like clear cut like it has been. So maybe EU's Finest can put their name in that conversation.
I feel like out of all of the teams that are going, you would still say NRG.
Yeah.
However, I also would say this is probably the event I felt most comfortable in saying there could be an upset.
Yeah.
Or it could be someone else. So that's kind of interesting to me. And we have seen NRG pushed in the Pro League.
Yep.
Not as much as the other top teams. Like Ghost, for example. They're currently, they were sat second in their Pro League. So that's kind of interesting. So the LATAM teams are definitely going to be strong going into San Diego. Likewise, EU's Finest, they've been pushed here in Europe as well. They've
on occasion, occasion.
We've seen our damage last week. 2 weeks ago, pushed them very, very far.
Yeah, it just seems as if they have that clutch factor, though, don't they?
Yes.
Especially when it comes to EU teams. 4-2 now to EU's Finest. They get that round done fairly comfortably. Hydra sitting at 27-5. Crimson's at 24-6.
Crimson's has impressed me this Pro League.
Yeah, he's been really good. He's been really, really good. Honestly, though, I just think all of them have had their moments.
I think they've all had their moments, but for me, Crimson's and Crazed have really been consistent.
I think Jack, for me, has been really solid as well. Really solid.
Yeah, I'd agree, actually. I think... Yeah, it's difficult to tell them all apart when they are all sat up there.
Yeah, they're all pretty good.
But... I don't know, just consistency-wise, I feel like Crimson's has improved his game a little bit since Gears 4, so it's good for me to see, at least, as we start to consider international play as well.
Going into this round, it might be the last one here for Rated R on Bunker. Grace is going to find a kill with the M-Bar into Sergio. Is he going to find anything else? Just setting himself up top here in the tower over towards the B site. Oh, Dragons, you got to be careful. At the back on down and did. Plenty others of any other members of EU's Finest over here causing problems, though. Let's see. Go on, Chris. I'm looking for top 5 players, mate. We didn't really have enough time to get any last week, I'll be honest. That was the problem. I'm looking through the week, I'm like, I can't do any top 5. There is nothing for me to look at here. It was just everybody just folding over, it seemed, last week. Anyway, EU's finest. Oh, actually, that was a shot you expected to maybe hit if you're crazed, but Dov gets away with that one by the skin of his teeth. He is in the control of Rated R here, so they're in a good spot. But power weapons very much in the hands of EU's finest here. Drop shot, the main one. One left here. And one good drop shot can pretty much spell the end of the round. If you are Rated R, Cog team win condition does come up. The decap comes through on E. Rated R still in the driving seat here, though.
Well, they are. Sergio, he's doing well to hold this angle right about now. The decap does come in. It doesn't mean much in terms of points overall, to be quite honest with you, because you do see that lead for Cog team. And second M bars are going to come up as well. So Leonard, he's going to be able to get his hands on that one. Charging up. Let's jump on board. Let's see what he does with it. As we get on board his perspective, does manage to connect with one shot. Isn't able to get the kill just yet. No damage from his teammates. Coming out. The drop shot comes out from Hydrone, and that's big. Takes out the Ember. And now,
just like that.
It's just like that. They turn it on its head. They manage to get the victory, and they are going to take this first map 5-2. Pretty good going from EU's finest, to be honest with you.
I mean, as simple as you like. I think, you know, that last 10, 20 seconds or so sort of sums it up. Leonard's there, firing away with the Ember. He's putting shots in, but yet, Rated R just can't get anything else from it. But then, suddenly, it's EU's finest coming through, drop shot, end of the round. Like, they just make it work at any opportune moment. They get map number 1 done very, very quickly. 5-2 there on Bunker. Sort of what we expected.
Yeah, exactly what we expected. Bunker seems to be more and more EU's finest pick. You know, they had trouble with it in the qualification. They seem to have sorted that entirely, and now they're actually looking really good on Bunker. And I like to see it's a team recognizing its flaws and then coming up and improving upon it and excelling upon it. You can see just there how good EU's finest are on it right now.
Yeah, very, very solid. I think it's probably going to be one of their main picks. I think, you know, when we've seen it after the time where they got beat off Obey, I think probably would have put them in the position where they said, right, okay, well, let's make sure that we do practice this map. Then when they played Obey in the Pro League, they made themselves look very, very solid on this one, and they have been ever since. Honestly, the whole map pool looks pretty great so far. This is how they won map number 1, though. 5-2 against Rated R, very, very solid one. And we're going to go over towards Asylum, where I think they have 100% win percentage as well. We'll see in a second, of course. But either way, looking very, very solid for EU's finest here. We knew that Rated R were going to struggle. We knew that it would be very, very hard for them to get anything done here. They need a map win, though, is what we do know. If they can get one, then maybe they can possibly finish third at the end of Split 1. Of course, things do change after San Diego, but it would be nice to be in the best position possible, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there is the question of how do those teams match up against the Challenger teams. And right now, we've got a team in the Challenger circuit called the Boys who are winning, you know, I think they've won 4 out of the last 6 tournaments.
Yep.
Looking pretty strong. So they'll be looking at this and, you know, trying to work out how they do play against Obey, how do they do play against Rated R, and it's going to be an interesting matchup, that's for sure.
Yeah, really interesting. Moving into map number 2, though. Straight in from Rated R that they need to do better, minus like everything. I think, you know, the slaying ability is there.
It's there for 3 out of the 5.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, it's about the whole team. Can Toast step up? Can he match that pace? Because honestly, the last game, no, he didn't at all. He actually looked pretty weak. And for me, when they beat EU's finest in that first week, they had all 5 members of their roster.
They were all flying,
they were flying around. They were all getting kills. They were all looking real strong. And for me, they've fallen off a little bit at the tail end of their roster, and they need everyone to be back involved in that fight.
What I will say about Rated R is they've lost a lot of round 13s up until the change.
It's going to bite them.
You know, that is going to suck. That it really does take it out of you.
Yeah.
Especially when it, like, anything you play, if you lose in like the last second where it is literally 1 round apiece or like 1 like goal or something like that, you know, whatever you play, it's heartbreaking, and it really can take an effect. You know, like, you know, there definitely would have been arguments saying, well, come on, we know how good we are, like, how we're losing all these round 13s or now round 9s, of course. And it will play a part, of course. And I feel as if their confidence isn't there. When they're confident, they look great. But sometimes, I mean, look, take round number 1, for instance.
Yeah.
They had a really good start. They kept going. They got kills, and then they just stopped, and it just didn't really materialize from there. And you just feel as if they're 1 step away from being a really good team, but that 1 step is a big step that they have to take.
It's a huge step, and you know, on the round 13 front, or the round 9 as it now is, One of them was against Obey. That goes the other way. You're pretty much guaranteed that third place spot. So they have meant a lot already, these round 13s, and yes, it will bite them. But you've got to clutch out. And right now, in this short format, that one round at the beginning of this, 4-3, 2 rounds in a row isn't really, it's not against the odds to be able to get 2 rounds in a row for Rated R. That's not a big deal. 3 rounds, though, you're starting to be in a bit of a difficult situation. And, well, going into it, you're right, EU's Finest have that 100% record.
I knew it. I'm a gear statistician. Is that statistician? Statistician?
Statistician.
I don't know. Words are hard. Anyway. EU's Finest starting the round with Sergio getting the first kill and then going down immediately. Nicely done by Dragons. He will be cleaned up by Phelpsy though, but picked up in the end by Leonard, who will trade things out. It's an absolute bloodbath over towards B. Getting amongst it. Hydron's the last one there for EU's Finest. He's going to find another. Here comes the cavalry. Crimsons will find himself through, but it is going to be Leonard to make the push through. Shots going to come through. And I tell you what, some good gears all from these two. Both teams really landing their shots, and that's why we've had an absolute massacre over towards B. But ultimately, once again, as said, water is wet. EU's Finest win the initial. I mean, he's not having a great series. Is that not my
point? Completely proven.
It's just like, listen for the trade, bro. It's massive.
In round 1. Jesus. No. To be honest, though, that was EU's Finest clutching up. They were losing that initial, but in the end, Phelpsy goes down but takes one with him. You know, everyone who went down from EU's Finest managed to get a little bit of a kill or took some time out of Rated R sales, and that's the difference. Like we mentioned between Obey and R Damage. In the end, R Damage less likely to lose someone in that 2v1 situation, I feel. EU's Finest even more so. They're more likely to get a kill in a 1v2. Kind of interesting to see. And right now they have that 40-point lead. They're looking to get another kill on Sergio.
He's going to find Sergio, who really hasn't had time to even light up in this game. You feel as if he's one of these players that has to for Rated R to do well. We know that Dragons is always going to have a fairly solid performance, but Sergio's a bit hit and miss at times, I think.
A lot of what I see as mistakes from Rated R feel like communication issues for me. Like just like then when Sergio's pushing up, they should have known that there was someone on that, on that fence right there. And I'm starting to question: is that a symptom of having 3-4 languages on the team? Maybe.
I mean, it's definitely not something that helps. I mean, notoriously over, any esport, anything, any sport. We even see that in like high level like football in this country, is like players coming over and not learning the language very quickly. It becomes very, very difficult. I mean, it's the same for anybody in any team orientated thing. Is that not being able to speak the language of what everybody else speaks, then definitely not helping. Communication is key, and for Rated R, sometimes you're very right. It does seem as if it's just maybe not there.
Yeah, and I know they can communicate in English. It's not a question of can they or can they not. It's more of a question of how perfect is it, how quick is it, how fluent is it, and well, it's definitely a possible issue that we're seeing with the side of Rated R, because
we're just theory crafting, really.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we could be completely wrong. They may all speak English fluently.
Well, I spoke to a lot of them. You
Oh my god! They fluently ran into Hydron's shotgun there.
Dear, yes.
I mean, communication can only get you so far, but then when Hydron's doing that, good lord.
That's it, isn't it? It does end up with skill being on the table as well.
You could speak perfect Queen's English across the board, and nothing can get you away from it.
I mean,
I was curious whether I was going to try and imitate the accent as best as I could, but you did it. You went for it. Anyway, Hydron is still killing people. And that is the round once again. This just feels like a fun. It just feels like we're waiting for EU's Finest to win the map. That's what it feels like at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's great if you're EU's Finest.
Oh, yeah. They're cruising.
Yeah, they really are. Hydron as well, 13-1. Toast, -23.
Yeah.
These are the sort of differences. And this is all Pro League teams as well. This shows you how good EU's Finest are. They really are capable of just taking it to any team. And
they've just got better every week, haven't they? That's the thing. In week number 1, we've seen them, and we've seen Rated R get the win against them. We sort of raised the question of, can they possibly be this team that's going to come up against them? You play aggressively, get in their faces, etc., etc. The answer is no. Ultimately, after 6 weeks of play, we've seen EU's finest confirm their place once again. I don't think it's as dominant as they were in fall quite yet. There's time, don't get me wrong. But realistically, you know, they are very much the best team in Europe right now. The name is justified. And going up against Rated R here, who are bottom of the leaderboard, you can tell. You can really tell EU's finest quality shining through. Drop shot has now been placed up top though, so this is where the fight is going to change to. Hydron is going to find one. Dragon's going to make the push for the drop shot. He's going to be able to get out as well and finds one. He's going to find a second here at the Crimsons as well. He won't need to as Dalva's already down there, but there we go. The A push comes through. They will go for the home hill hold and may well just go for the domination.
It's possible. Jack's going to be here holding it out. Nice little bit of pistol. And now Dov versus Jack for this B hill. Jack's going to have to push in. Actually, the A hill is decapped, so it doesn't really matter what Jack does here. Just trade out in the end. And that's the situation where, realistically, 1v2, Sergio and Dov should have come out with a kill without losing Dov, right?
You would say Dov maybe just sit back a little bit. Sergio's coming.
Exactly. You know that he's coming. Leonard just take out Dragons as well, so that's not going to help things. And Crimson's has just got hold of this A hill, so things looking up again for EU's finest. Yes, they are down on hills. Yes, they are down on points, but in terms of position, they are going to be back in just a second or two.
Sergio flashed up. We'll have to back down to where's Toasters, who's been dropped. Jack now gets the kill, and they're clustering up just a little bit here, aren't they? Rated R now getting stuck in between a couple of members of EU's finest, and they're all dropping down. B is just captured ever so easily. Phelpsy finds one. Jack cleans it up. Thankfully, Sergio is off the respawn. It's going to be a race over towards Steep. Chris should be able to capture this one. Sergio is going to get through the fire and the flames to get anywhere near this one. The domination is going to come through. I think they will have time to get through Rated R, but are they just denying the inevitable here? Toast now jumping over as well. Going to get caught. Dov is going to get dropped as well. It's just inevitable at this point that they win every single round. Although saying that, Rated R, maybe in here, it is going to be Leonard. Denying the inevitable once again. EU's finest. Third time's the charm. We'll get this one done 3-0 now. And it just, I said, it just feels like a formality now. They are really hitting prime form going into San Diego.
I think, as well, teams, when they get in the situation against EU's finest, it is kind of, it hurts the morale, right? Like, it hurts the esteem. And I think teams start to make more mistakes because of this than they would against other teams, because against other teams they have that in the back of their mind that yes, we can come back into this, it's just a couple of rounds, don't worry about it, we can beat our damage, we can beat Obey in this couple of rounds. In this situation, it's so difficult to ask, maybe 2 rounds in a row, 3 rounds in a row. Very, very difficult not to let that get into your head a little bit, and start to affect you mentally. And you see there often times where they could have just gone in and rolled back out and waited for more teammates to come in, but they just keep pushing. They keep trying to fight the 1v2s. They keep.
It's
trying
like
to
they
go
want
for
it to be over.
Yeah, exactly. It does feel that way to some degree.
Well, Toast all alone over towards me. That's because the drop shot is now available. Sergio is going to get a hold of that, but he is now dropped by the shock. Will survive it though. Does no further damage when you're down low anyway, but should be cleaned up here. Is going to get cleaned up here. Crimson Zaco just getting things going. Sergio is now dropped as well. But then Leonard, like, why is he pushed there? Like,
exactly. Why not roll back? Why not fight it with Dragons?
It's just like, well, yeah, let's just see what we can do, because at this moment in time we don't seem to have a plan. Hydron drops Dragons here, come Rated off the spawn again, trying to keep a hold of their home hill. Thankfully for them, EU's finest don't have C yet. So this one will not be over quite yet, and will actually probably be a good position for Rated R to be in here. Now Phelpsy, I say that has backup as well. Crimson's finds 2 with the drop shot on the way in. You've got to get C, boys, as this one will be over. Dragons now last one up. Yeah, they're just waiting for the elimination to come through. You feel actually respawning back up if you are Rated R. They send one back for C. Here comes the domination. The break does come through. Nicely done by Dobbed. Is going to find Crazed as he does manage to break on through. Maybe a little bit of life here for Rated R, who actually don't have a point. Will get one on the board now, though, as he do get a hold of 8. But wow, is the damage already done?
Dov's got to be careful here. Just get taken out. Just get pistol. And Leonard goes down as well. And it's little bits like that. Dov comes in. Beautiful double kill. Got hold of his home hill again. And then with 12% health, runs around the corner into 2 members of EU's finest and gets taken out. Like, that's the bit where you've got to be more clinical, because that's a round over to EU's finest. That one little mistake. Right now, EU's finest, they sit 4-0. They're on series point already. They're looking to close out the Pro League with a statement here.
Oh yeah.
And this is the one blemish on their record that they're trying to rectify,
yeah.
right?
Well, they are certainly rectifying that. Let's be honest. 4-0 now. You know they want it done in 5, don't you? And honestly, I think Rated R with the punishment they're taking right now probably want the same.
So back to the drawing board for them. Let's see what happens anyway. Jack Fex, called him out earlier, has been one of the players you have enjoyed watching in this Pro League.
I just don't think he does much wrong. Like, for me, he doesn't like. Oh, I mean, I say that as he runs towards. I've just completely cursed him. He doesn't do anything wrong, as he just thinks he's got his shotgun. He actually has a pistol. It couldn't have been worse, in all honesty. Good lord, Jack, if you're watching this back, I've just cursed you completely. Cursed you completely. That's my fault, not yours. I mean, could that have went any better? Could it have went any better?
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That is...
Oh, good lord. Oh, well. Anyway,
that's funny.
Besides that moment, he hasn't really done much wrong. Of course. Sod's law.
That is indeed sod's law. Oh, my lord. Well, Jack, let's make up for
Let's
it,
try
buddy.
again.
Let's make up for it. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. That's funny.
Rated R now do actually have a hold of the drop shot. This is Toast and Co do back on down, but they know they can. They have control where they need it. And I'm quite happy to sit in here. EU's finest now have to break the duct, so to speak. Have to get a hold of some sort of control. You feel as if Jack maybe he's not the best weapon out in the best in that situation, then maybe they would have. But either way, it is now some work for EU's finest to do for a change.
Yeah, that's it, right? They're behind. The E-Hill was in the favour of Rated R, but they have got a good position. Dragon's taken pretty low here. This is
Oh, Phelpsy from behind. Oh, finds
dangerous.
one. Yeah, it's just so clean though. Go on, give him that. Oh, it's filth.
someone pulled the Heimlich. That's a choke. That's disgusting from Phelpsy as well, to be fair.
Oh, here comes the domination as well. Dov's going to try and get in here. He maybe will too, but can Jack clean up? He finds 2 of his own as well. It's just so efficient from EU's finest. We're done. We're dusted. 5-0. They round out the final week of the EU Pro League split number 1 in devastating fashion. EU's finest back to the best, you feel. 5-0 against Rated R in map number 2. Done ever so easily. All honesty though, we expected them to win. Did we think it would be that easy? I honestly, no, but then again, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I didn't think it would be that easy, but I am not surprised in the way they went about that.
Not at the 5-0. The 5-0 doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The surprising thing for me is how easy it was.
Yeah.
Like, it
5-0s happen.
Yeah,
They
it
happen.
sure,
Like,
especially in the shorter format.
And bearing in mind,
But
that was actually Rated R's pick, and they had what was that, like a 67? Well, it would have been a 66.666 win ratio on that one. So 2 out of 3 times they've won it, and then they just get pasted by them in map number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it sorry to Rated R, but it looked like a ranked game at some points in time. It looked like a 5-stack going into a ranked game for EU's finest, and that's not good for Rated R going into San Diego. What is good is, I mean, EU's finest look bloody phenomenal.
Yeah.
They look really, really good. And going in that first seed, there's going to be some good matches up for them, but they really have cemented themselves at the top. They've put themselves in a fantastic position for San Diego, and well, they look fantastic as well. So
they look really good.
Yeah,
they
good
look
luck to
really, really good. This is how the series did unfold, though. EU's finest 5-2 on Bunker, of course, and then we just seen demolishing of Rated R 5-0 on Asylum. That was for all that the first series took its time. We went to round 9 in map number 3. This one, the complete opposite.
Yeah.
In the end, Rated R want to get in 2 rounds within 2 maps. EU's finest, though. The story has to be about them going into San Diego. We're excited for them, aren't we? I think, realistically, they look very, very solid. Everyone here in Europe, ourselves included, are very interested to see how we're very interested to see how all the teams do, in all honesty, but EU's finest, absolutely the favourites from Europe going over there. Let's have a look at the final standings before we head over towards San Diego. EU's finest sitting pretty at the top there. 25 round difference as well. I mean, it's dominating, isn't it? It is dominating. Yes, they do have that one loss, of course, against Rated R on week number 1, but
I think
other than that,
the maps for me is huge as well. 10-3, knowing that
two
2 of
lost
them
3 maps.
Yeah, and 2 of them were in that very first game. After that, they've been 10-1. Yes, they had a close game against our damage. but 10-1 over 5 weeks is very,
good.
very good.
It's pretty good.
And yes, the round difference is pretty insane too.
So going into San Diego for these teams now, where do you see them lying just before we close things up here? There'll be a change in gears this week. We're going to talk about it. Don't worry. But please watch. But EU's finest. What are the limitations?
I don't think they have limitations. I honestly don't. This EU's finest look very, very strong. The only thing that I feel may be a thorn in their side is this new format, because they've tended to be a bit slow at the start, right? And they've ended up going through the losers bracket quite often. And honestly, the short format will mean that they don't have the time to come back in those longer games. Can they keep form? Can they keep themselves at this level? That's to be seen. But it is single elimination now.
Yeah.
That is a big thorn in their side.
Yes.
For me. However, they are also the only team to really give it to Optic in that winners bracket. And they do it over and over again. There's always good games against them.
Yeah.
So they only have to come up against Optic once if they can beat them once.
Yeah.
NRG, sorry. Yeah. Then sky's the limit for them. Yeah. I actually can see EU's finest winning a major this year. Not this year, but this season.
Okay. The other teams I want to touch on quickly.
Yes.
Just
Sure.
Curious to getting into the EU's finest show here. But I think R Damage or Bay rated R. What do we think about them going into San Diego? I think R Damage is definitely the ones to look at. I think you're very, very right. R Damage on form, if they can hit their form, can definitely get themselves a decent placement. I mean, I'm not saying top 4.
No.
I think, top 8 in and around that. If they can get that, I think they'd be relatively happy. I don't think any competitor goes in any event, doesn't win it, and would feel happy. But a respectable placement, I feel, would be top 8 for them. Or Bay, if they can perform well, I think. I've got a shot at doing okay, but I think it's a harder task for them. Rated R, who knows? At this point, the way they played there, you think not. But if they can get back to that week number 1 against the East where they're just flying, wind in their sails, then maybe it's a different story.
So we haven't as a European region, we haven't sent many teams over to the majors, right? Yeah. That haven't got through the open bracket. They historically do very well. They almost always qualify for pools, and they don't do very well when they get to pools, to be quite honest with you. But they do really well in the open bracket. Yeah. They find that actually quite easy. So I actually do expect all 4 teams to be in the top 20. Yeah. That's what I'd look at, right? If we're all qualifying for that championship bracket, then I'll be happy. I think top 16, top 8 for R Damage. Yeah. Top 8 is a good finish. Top 6 will be, or top 4 in this bracket will be very, very good for them. Yeah. And EU's finest top 4, top 3, top 2, top 1. Maybe.
Final 2 questions. So actually, sure. I think you've answered one of them. EU's finest, they could win it. Will they win it?
Depends on how they perform in the Swiss bracket. If they get a favorable championship bracket, I can see them winning it. I actually can. I think they're one of the only teams that will be able to beat NRG in the first major. I think after that they're going to have a tough time because NRG will have a bit of time to really reflect and pick up how they play. But I think that both the Latin American region and the European region have that opportunity on this specific tournament to do that. There are some blooming strong teams though going into it. Some very, very strong. We talk about a lot about NRG, but Mesa as an example in that Bravo, fantastic team. Reciprocity, amazing. Yep. The teams coming out like EGYX, Estral, Ghost, all fantastic teams. Fire and Ice as well coming out of that region, all fantastic teams. So
let's be honest, we don't know who's going to win San Diego.
It's difficult. You can give your best prediction, right? But at the end of the day, we're going on Gears 4 major historical international performance, and that is not accurate right now.
Yes.
So this is where it counts. This is where teams have to really set their name in stone, and we'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Let's find out. Friday is when San Diego starts the very first major for Gears 5, and we are very, very excited for it. That's the end of the Pro League for split number 1 here in Europe. We do start again in January, so make sure you tune in for that. But for now, San Diego is what's next. We will see you there.
This is my kind of